Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got that red backpack, and we were just at the fridge, and this we're gonna donate on my anonymous friend's behalf for the donation for the clothings. And you know, I'm auctioning everything that I'm wearing. I got this secondhand. I like it says made in Canada, Canada. You know, we gotta unite, fuse with those 50 states, the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories. My way best, public private partnership best. As my brothers and sisters, this fellow Canadians, the king is absent, and I gotta commence, begin with my gratitude. I'm just gonna get out of the way for the youth. Gotta salute the youth. And although financially stressed, I was at the community fridge there, and there was some cantaloupe. I didn't take cantaloupe. I left. There were six cantaloupes there, but I have still one in the fridge from yesterday, and I took a little bit of it's actually potato salad mixed with a little bit of mayo, potato salad from the store bought, and a sauce and a little cookie, a little circular round cookie. So those 3 items, and I left a lot of cantaloupes. They were not that fresh, but I guess they're still edible. They gotta be eaten within the next, I would say, 5 days, you know. 4 days best, 4 days best, 4 days best. And here we are on this 19th of June. Grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and tomorrow's the last day of spring. Summer begins, I guess. Saturday, 21st, is the first day of that. First day of summer. If it's not the 18th today, 18th, 19th. Gotta double check. Anyways, grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and gotta salute the bakers, the nurses, the truckers, the electricians, the plumbers, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, all those who rock and roll now for that XYZ. And that's how we gotta get doing with that, man, today, you know. For my brothers and sisters across the North American Collective, we always gotta get a little bit of that salutation to the sun. My Publik king is supposed to be a little bit of that thunder and storms. Well, maybe we'll see some later. It's supposed to be a big storm here in Montreal, Hawk Island storm, but maybe it's gonna come out a little bit on that later side of things. Today is being, of course, Thursday, and I took the compost out. I gotta salute those bakers, butchers, nurses, doctors, truckers, and my fellow Aspie community who have Asperger's. You know, we're a tiny, small minority of a neurodivergent community of less than 1%, less than 0.5%. Is 0.44% who have Asperger's, and I'm gonna discuss a little bit what Asperger's is after I drop this bag. Now right here, of course, because it requires a little bit of that, requires a little bit of knowledge and understanding, and it's a lot of noise here with that, but that's what it is on that go, man. Here we are in the midst of the concrete jungle. We're gonna go to my second home, the mistress. See, we got 11, 10, plenty of seconds. My mistress, my doctor mountain, and the mistress, my second home, the forest. And I gotta salute, you know, the workers there, the workers in the warehouse, workers, the grocery store clerks, you know. That's I gotta salute with that, and that's how I gotta give salutations, and that's how we gotta get doing on the love side of things. You know, gotta some loving and lust, I guess. Gratitude is very important, I find, for mental health. Just gratitude, you know.
No music, no performance, no like.
Gratitude is something which I strongly advise regularly, and also regular physical exercise. And I got that backpack on. It's not that heavy. I think it got about 33 pounds, maybe some less, because I got those red gloves by which I'm challenging Donald Trump. You know, I'm still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match ever since Donald Trump made the mistake to impose tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. And that's all we got, and that's all we gotta get doing with that, and that's all we gotta get doing on that go, you know, here as we go. And here we go. This is what we're gonna donate. Do that donation, and make sure you push it in. I'm gonna push it in, maybe. Make sure you get it. It went in. So make sure you push it in. I know sometimes it requires an extra strength, but you know, make sure that. There we go. It went in right away, and I had to push a little bit the other one. Now I guess I'm gonna have to use some hygiene, sanitize, because I don't know how many people used it before, and you know, personal hygiene, and encourage all in personal hygiene. And I do keep the protocols from COVID, the COVID protocols. So I just touched it with my right hand. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna lay down here and just disinfect my right hand, because there's, you know, bacteria, microbes, germs, and I keep the protocols of COVID as much as I can. I know sometimes we have a tendency to go back to old habits, and I'm joyous. Nothing that I will to go back myself. You know, I died during COVID in February 2020. Between February and March I had COVID, so now with a new wave, and public hygiene is important. See, I got my made in Canada disinfectant, hand sanitizer, see? Made in Canada, by Canadians, for Canadians, by Canadians, for Canadians, by Canadians, for Canadians. And now I put a little bit of that, not too much of it, but gonna rub it 20 seconds, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We're gonna shoot that rocket in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and victory, victory, victory for increasing public hygiene. That's a victory for myself as an individual, you know, for increasing public hygiene, myself as an individual. So we're just gonna backpack that up, and that's how we're gonna go, and that's where we're gonna go backpack it up, and gonna put it in, and we're gonna go to my second home now. Hands disinfected, hands sanitized, and we're gonna get it on the go and encourage all to work out, train, exercise. And here we are from my neighborhood. Look how beautiful, beautiful flowers. Gonna smell the flowers a little bit, and sometimes it's good to see, notice what's in front of us, and of course the sky also, the sky. That's what it is. Sometimes we gotta notice the sky and the flowers, and a lot of people are noticing, of course, the beautiful flowers which we have around about, and that's what we're gonna go doing with that. And we gotta go clock it in for the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, the plumbers, the electricians, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and all those involved. Production, distribution of food. And I guess you gotta watch the car here because it's our time to pass, but always double check. Turn your heads left and right, because you never know, although pass, you gotta turn your heads left and right, because since the fact that sometimes brakes malfunction, you press the brake instead of the accelerator. Sometimes the car speeds up, the brake is pressed lightly, it doesn't stop, the brake malfunction, or by mistake the citizen driver presses the accelerator instead of the brake. So in the public we got added responsibilities and obligations, and of course I'm an in and out marching jog, dragon versus drum for the empire, pledge your allegiance, little allegiance for the 63, you know, the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, do the math, that's 63. For the 63 North American Collective Workers Party, let's get the National Salvation Front rolling. Let's get the binational salvation front. And we're gonna have to get for the 63, you know, these tough economic times, myself included, my only stress, illness, malady now, and I guess impediment is economic, financial, commercial, you know. Commercial, money. I'm financially stressed, but the problem is my community, Asperger's, you know. I have lived with chronic unemployment. I had many employments which I loved, and many employments which I loved in the past, and many employments, you know, something which we got, and that's how they got, you know. So something which we have to be doing with that, and something which we have to be mindful of, that me as a neurodivergent, my position is always, as a neurodivergent, as somebody who has Asperger's, when I interact with others, I have to always build bridges, you know, build bridges. So building those bridges sometimes require a level of just letting people know what my condition is. It's not a mental illness, it is a neurological mental divergent condition which makes me predisposed to special interests. And those special interests and certain ways we communicate, and look at that beautiful one. That's translated here. It says, this is not garbage. This is not garbage. Ceci n'est pas une poubelle. That's French for this is not garbage, and please don't throw garbage there. Look at the beautiful. So the public workers, they made an effort to embellish for us and for all of us here, my fellow cousins and cousins across the collective North America civilizational complex, and my brothers and sisters made an effort to plan these. So please, just, you saw the garbage is over there, the recycling is I think somewhere there. If you don't have recycling, just find the recycling. And this is really beautiful, so I gotta give a shout out to the public workers. I find a little bit of mix of colors, so nice, so nice. Nice. So it's embellishing the cities of the North American collective, which we gotta do, you know. Embellishing the cities, which we gotta do, you know. That's how we gotta do there, and that's how we gotta get doing on that, you know. Because we got a full collective here on the go, and that's how we gotta get doing on the love, man, you know. Sometimes it requires love. All my brothers and sisters across the 63, you know, we're divergent. Us Aspies were neurodivergent. So I am part of this small, tiny minority of a population called Aspies, Asperger's, also known as HFA. I do use Asperger's as my condition, which is not a mental illness. Please, please, please. It's not a mental illness. It's not a malady. It's not an illness. It is a neurological mental divergent condition. Aspie brains have mutations. So my brain has at the micro level, of course, at the microscopic level, there's these mutations of the brain. Of course, these mutations account, and the cause, what causes Asperger's, is inconclusive. So there's no 100% statement on the cause, the origins, what causes Asperger's. It is perhaps a combination of factors of hereditary, that is biological factors or hereditary, or of course biological or hereditary, or it is of course environmental. So it can be environmental, or a combination, environmental or a combination. So that combination, it could be etc. It could be a combination of those things, and it could be a combination of environmental factors, and environmental factors coupled with the environmental factors and the hereditary factors. So that's what it is. And so we gotta get going here. We gotta stop here at the level. See, you gotta be watching here because there's construction. So, and you gotta watch, as your car, you gotta watch that way. So here you gotta wait for the light, but you know, just be careful because I know the streets. I know kind of the size, the dynamics, and these are public works. So we gotta get that. We gotta get that dynamics on the go, you know. So that's how we gotta get doing with that, you know. So get it on the love side of things, and we gotta get doing on the love, you know. So something which we gotta be doing, and that's how we gotta love. And anyway, so Asperger's is a neurological mental divergent condition. We have certain characteristics which make us look at the world differently, in a weird, it's for others it can seem weird, abnormal, weird and strange. Such characteristics, and again, they're not symptoms. What beautiful flowers, look at that. So these ones also, but they're shedding. And this garden also is pretty nice. So due to several characteristics, and you have to understand that we are Aspies are part of the 0.44%, so it's less than 1%, less than half of a percent. But we have major problems. As much as our community is a tiny small fraction of the population, the problem is high unemployment. In our community, and the unemployment rate is between 60 and 80%. Is between 60 and 80%. 60 and 80%. That's 11 times higher. 11 times higher than the majority of the population. 11 times. So for every neurotypical, might work in construction, plumbing, engineering, electricians, butchers, bakers, nurses, etc. For one unemployed of the neurotypical community of 99.56%, there's 11 times higher people who are Aspies who are unemployed. In parallel, the problem is also the dynamics are in terms of depression and suicide. So the depression rate and the suicidal rate, the depression rate and the suicidal rate depression and suicidal rates are 9 times higher. 9 times higher. 9 times higher. 9 times higher depression and suicidal rate. So both these problems are major obstacles, major hurdles, and now I'm leaving unemployment. I had many jobs, which I had many jobs during the COVID. But unfortunately it was only 2-3 months, 2-3 weeks, and a few days, and that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get going. So of course, coupled with that, I live being depressed and suicidal. And here I urge you all to please just turn your heads left and right. Just turn your heads left and right. Even there's a stop sign between the north and the south. There's no stop sign between the east and the west. Between the east and the west, there's no stop sign. So basically, of course, this proposition and this problem, which I live being depressed and suicidal, what got me out of being depressed and suicidal was crossing Canada coast to coast, coast to coast. So having crossed Canada coast to coast, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, that made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. That was in 2017. It's going to be 8 years in August, September. So in 2017, I crossed Canada coast to coast. Coast to coast, coast to coast. Coast to coast, coast to coast. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. So that's what I crossed. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. That's why I crossed Canada back in 2017. And that's when I crossed Canada in 2017, and that's what made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. That's what made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, Quebecers, and my brothers and sisters in the USA, because I was depressed, suicidal, and I'm a mystic as well, to being parallel, a philosopher, artist, athlete, and independent geopolitical theoretical honest and theorist. And I believe in reincarnations. The triple problem is that sometimes I was born a woman, a man, a woman, a man, a woman, a man. So you get that 50-50 now. You get that 50-50. So you get that 50-50 now. You get that 50-50. Androgynous, pansexual, artist, athlete, philosopher, and founder of the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom. The empire, the empire, the empire. First and foremost, with trillions of kisses. Yeah. With trillions of kisses, trillions of kisses, trillions of kisses. Created from the forgotten goddess of the star-lit heavens, and trillions of marching steps parallel to those trillions of kisses. K-I-S-S-E-S, K-I-S-S-E-S, K-I-S-S, yes, K-I-S-S-E-S, kisses, marching steps, and lots of rock and roll lyrics on the daily, new rock and roll song every day from yours truly, because that's my special interest: rock and roll, geopolitics, and sports and fitness, dancing being my favorite sport and fitness activity. As Aspies, we have these characteristics and these daily ritualized routines. So we have kind of ritualized routines. We have sometimes it can be for certain Aspies. I'm myself an individual, part of this tiny small fraction of the population with Asperger's, but we have a rigid routine. Rigid routine. So our rigid routine usually is revolved with intensity, super focus, and concentration around those interests which preoccupy us with intensity. They're called special interests or obsessive interests, and mine happens to be geopolitics, and I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted what's happening now, being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, I think you can make some juice with these. I think so, I'm not sure. Being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted what's happening now. Back in 2019, that's how we got. And I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, who has predicted what's happening now back in 2019. And I have made, of course, a workout training program system to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario, and that's what it is here as we go, Always got to be mindful about the things which we have in common, and the things which unite us here in the North American Collective. And again, I have proof of work, I have proof of work, as I predicted what's happening now back in 2019. Turn your heads left and right here before you cross the street at least twice, because although there's no on the one side, there is on the other side, there is on the other side, so you got to be prudent, because now it's hot. It's supposed to be a storm coming, and every day actually, just when you go outside, just remind yourself that you have added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. And I'm weird, strange, awkward, and aspies. If you see somebody inspecting objects in the store close, as I've been doing for years and years and years, looking at the details of the product, where it's made, the quantity and other information, and inspecting it close to the eye in a weird manner, turning it around and around and looking at it closely for like more than 44 seconds, that is a possibility that that person has Asperger's. That is another characteristics. And again, they're not symptoms, because symptom is for an illness, a malady, is repeating words 2-3 times, or echolalia. So that's just a strange. And I have been diagnosed by several people for years and years and years, and I have not accepted it for many years. I have not accepted it for many years. I've not accepted it for many years. I have not accepted it for many years, but finally, I've not accepted it for many years, until finally, about 3.5 years ago, accepted it. Yeah, I have Asperger's, I'm an Aspie, and because I didn't want to accept the label, the stigma, because in certain levels and certain things we're less able. We have certain, don't use the word disabilities, but we're less able, and we're not that good in certain things of a social nature. And another problem we encounter, not just high unemployment and high suicidal ideation tendencies, and I lived through being depressed and suicidal, and again crossing Canada coast to coast in summer 2017. First BC, British Columbia, Vancouver, then Halifax, Nova Scotia, made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, and that's when I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. Back in 2017, and my brothers and sisters in the 50 states, the USA, of course, who I consider family. And I was born in the USA 3 times, and we're gonna take a reroute, because we're gonna get some of that hydration, Gotta get HYDRATE, and it's hot. It's hot, and you're gonna have to put, when we come back, maybe towards the sun, I guess we're gonna have to put some of that lotion potion. That's something which we have to do, I guess, as individuals, and because it's depending on your levels of resistance. And we're gonna go through there. Let's see. Yeah, we can go. That's an alley. Take a little bit of that shade. And whenever I pass through alleys, it reminds myself of the years of being depressed and suicidal, a few years, and being in Hawk Island, Montreal, on the island here. Metropolis, 2.5 million city, big island surrounded by the Snake River. And many years I spent with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, and read books, and was spent it in the back alleys, the alleys of many of the alleys of the Metropolis, second most populated city in Canada, Montreal, for many years. So I'm well acquainted with the alleys of Montreal, but the problem is my memory blacks out. If I go back 9-10 years, that's fine, but then 11 years, there's a blackout in my memory, Just remember being attacked by surprise, hit my head on the concrete, had a dislocated right arm, a shoulder, and I went to the Jewish General Hospital. I still have to go retrieve, I'm hoping before July 1st, still have to go retrieve the documentations. Retrieve the documentation, so I still have to retrieve the documentation and the archives, because it was probably 2014, and I lived in a small prison cell, prison cell, and it was moldy, and it was a prison cell there, and it's like full of mold, and of course I had that full of mold there, and I moved there, so I moved from there, we're moved there with that. Look at that beautiful yellow. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful yellow. That's how we got it. That's how we got that beautiful yellow, man. Isn't that just gorgeous here? How it is nice and yellow, and that's how we got, and so we gotta get on that left, right, and center, so that's what we gotta get doing. Children are happy, joyous. That's what's important. Thought I heard children there. Yeah, they're happy, joyous, and I gotta give a salutation to the daycare workers, changing some diapers, and that's how we got, the changing of those diapers there, and that's how we got, man. Watch it when you turn the heads, you gotta turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, because we're crossing the street, and we gotta get on that prudent side of things in the life here, it's sometimes they come fast from over there, and there's a time by the time they get to that intersection, they could only pick up enough speed to be more than 44 kilometers or miles, more than 44 miles even an hour by that distance there, that distance on the go, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get doing on the love, man, here. Something, look at the sky. Hey, look at that sky. Isn't that just beautiful? That's just heavens there. That's just heavens. Wow. For me at least, that looked just so amazing. So I remember moving, and that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get doing. So I remember moving, I remember moving on the go, and that's how they get it drilled with that, and that's how they get it on the side of things, and gotta get it for XYZ, and gotta get it to XYZ, to being on the go, man. And here we go, we gotta a little of foundational things which we got, and we gotta get doing on the go for that, and gotta get doing on that XYZ, and we gotta get doing for the love side of things, and we gotta get doing on the go, to get it for the now, and for the left, for the right, for the butchers, the bakers, and the boys and girls in blue, Girls and boys in blue, girls and boys in blue, girls and boys in blue. Nobody's perfect as I sing blue. Get out of the way sometimes, they got to respond to certain emergencies, and we're in emergency mode. And I'm going to be grateful for the workers of the Publik who built this water. Gotta be grateful. Civilization is a privilege. Otherwise I'll be drinking water from the river. I have to boil it, of course. Well, from the river is different than from the lakes, because the river is running water, so it's safer. But nonetheless, civilization is a privilege, having the electricity. And I also sing for my brothers and sisters who do their criminal rehabilitation, and we need to build the North American Collectif for the 63, the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, in order to start building those 44 tunnels ASAP in case of a thermonuclear war, and getting that golden hawk, and gonna hydrate, and gonna discuss about it. Oh yeah. Oh, much needed. So before I get into the geopolitics, because that's my special interest as an ASPI, we have these special interests which of course preoccupy our daily routines and rituals, and all the preoccupation with our daily routines and rituals revolve around our special interests. So on the daily, ASPIs, with different levels of intensity because I'm an independent aspie, right? An individual part of this tiny small community is being an individual of this tiny community, having an Asperger's and being an individual part of this tiny small population, segment of a population is less than 1%, less than half of a percent. 0.44%, that's not a lot. That is not a lot. Not a lot. You might not even find one under 300. 0.44%. 0.44%. That's all we got, man. I'll go towards the mountain, my second home. And so Aspies, again, we have these specialized routines. The ritualized routines, so they can be pretty rigid, you know? They seem pretty rigid in the way we manifest our rigidity. It's not necessarily it's rigid, because rigid is a word that a neurotypical might employ. It's just that for us, it's natural. You have to understand, for an Aspie, being intense, super focused, super concentrated, to the point of seeming obsessed, that's just for an Aspie, it's natural. Those words do not really quantify or apply for somebody who has Asperger's. That's the understanding. We need to build that bridge. Build that bridge. Because when I go marching, working out, I'm super intense, super focused, super in it. Because it's my exercise. And I started my fitness journey after I came out of being depressed and suicidal in 2017. When I crossed Canada coast to coast. And see how my brain now works due to the fact that geopolitics is my special interest. I saw that truck. I know that it's going maybe towards the border because that's south, and the other one's north. We're heading east. That's east, that's north, that's west, and that's south. So that's where we're gonna meditate now, about the trucks, and of course from a geopolitical perspective, the whole highway system, transportation system, public transportation system, is a matter of binational Canada and United States, even including Mexico, or what I call the North American Collectif, or the great North American civilizational complex as a philosopher, that is integral part of our security. Food security, for example. That truck might carry bacon, cheese, apples, and bread, and other goods, of course, beside those four, but some other goods as well. And so many trucks now carry that goods, which are essential for nutrition for the children, for the youth, for the elders as well who build it. Takes that rock and roll from the 20th century. Gratitude for the elders who build it. As you look at that beautiful sky, check those 3G. I think those are 2Gs, 3Gs there, or maybe even 4G. I'm not too familiar because science, technology, and mathematics, that's in my parallel life. In my parallel life, I'm a super scientist, also have Asperger's, but there I build supercomputers, ICBM rockets, and you see those machines, those are part of the public works, and it takes a little bit of that good Quebec, and it's something we gotta work, man. Here, Quebec's one of the 63, the equality between the 63 states of the future empire, the kingdom. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, Dragon Army needs to be formulated on my new 911 Dragon Army total security, total service, total defense protocols. For total security, total service, total defense protocols. The Dragon Army. For total security, total service, total defense protocols. And that's all we gotta get doing with that. We gotta get on that love side of things, you know, to get it on the doing, and gotta get some of that music here to get it on the step. And I'm just gonna go by their side here because I don't want my YouTube to be. So they had some music there. But I had to pause it because otherwise it would have blocked maybe my YouTube. As you know, I'm financially stressed, and I don't want my videos, lest I go viral. I guess after 7 years, about time. And please get out of the way. And when you hear the sound, that's an ambulance. Just slow down. Don't press the accelerator. Make sure the ambulance just passes you. Slow down when you drive and you hear the ambulance, and slow down, and take your time. Look left, right, and in the center, and do the corner 180 degrees. If you're driving, of course, look 800 degrees, and whatever the case may be, for the XYZ. That's what we're gonna get doing for now, and we gotta turn our heads left and right, and that's how we gotta circumspect. You know, when you hear the ambulance or the police, just slow down a bit. Okay, now it's my time, although that's for public security. My assessment is that that has to be trimmed a bit. See, because I know, because it's on the other side, see, but now I had 3 seconds, and that's blocking the view. That's blocking the view. It's blocking the view, you can't see it. Anyways, I think it's safe for me to pass, and little dogs, I like dogs, it's just that if they're not poodles, I'm reticent a bit. I have a reservation for petting them because I get triggered to sneeze, so I sneeze. I sneeze, you know. It's like you see in one of my videos, that's what it is with that. And one of my videos, man, that's what I sneeze, man, and that's what we do with that. So we gotta get it on the doers, you know. So being that I sneeze makes me sneeze a little bit, you know. Being that I sneeze, you know. Being that I sneeze. So that's the sneezing part, you know. So it's signed on the sneezing part, you know. Yeah. So that's what it is, man. And look at the sky, rah rah rah. Abracadabra, 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 abracadabra. Anyways, going towards the mountain, and that's just Asperger's, you know. That's just Asperger's for you, and that's just what it is with Asperger's, and that's just what Asperger's do, man. Aspies do our daily routines, whatever it is for an Aspie meets. Since the morning, I was supposed to actually leave at 1. On 1, even before. So I got delayed by 3.5 hours because of the geopolitical arena and the geopolitical situation today with the new conflict, Israel-Iran, with the surprise attacks / preemptive attack, right? Because the preemptive strike doctrine, which was established during the Bush, the junior, George W. Bush, the junior, and that's what it is with that, the junior side of things, and we gotta get doing on that, and that's what we gotta get doing on those beautiful flowers, man. See? Anyway, so basically, whatever the case will be, is something which we gotta be circumferential about, and that's what we gotta be doing on the go, and we gotta get doing on that, and we gotta get doing on the love side of things, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know. So it's an Aspie thing that we are involved in this situational awareness and of ourselves, and of course the book, which of course triangulated me, and that's the book that triangulated my understanding in a circular manner of how best to deal and manage my characteristics, my Asperger's characteristics, because they're not symptoms. You cannot medicate Asperger's away. There's no medication for Asperger's. Asperger's, you live just like I live with my scars and retrograde amnesia, memory loss. Not recent memory loss, but I have trouble accessing memory for my life before I moved. So I remember moving from a moldy underground place with like a tight, small prison cell with like a mold prison type of cell here in Montreal, from Montreal Island, not from elsewhere. I was living in Citoyen underground, in a basement full of mold, and from an underground place and full of mold with that basement, and I moved from there, and having moved from there, being that I moved, maybe 2016, July 1st is going to be either 9 years or 10 years. So either 2015, July 1st, or of course, July 1st, whatever it is that be, July 2016, and that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get doing. So 2016 with that, So that is the consequential awareness of where we are now, in the disponibilities of admiring those beautiful, beautiful flowers there in the corner. So basically that's what it is, and that's how we gotta get rock and rolling, you know. So something which we gotta admit, and something which we have to remind ourselves on a daily basis, at least myself, since I died of COVID, that expressing gratitude is great for mental health, and parallel to gratitude is regular physical fitness, and regular physical fitness, you know. So that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and we gotta get doing on that, you know. Something which we gotta be admiring on the beautiful flowers, and beautiful flowers on the go, you know, is something which we gotta be just aware as aspects of our difference, and always put it integrated when we interact with neurotypicals. Because yes, I lost a lot of friends. Aspie's friendship from now on, I only will to have friends with benefits, you know. Pledge your allegiance to our family, pledge your allegiance to our family, pledge your allegiance to our family, you know. In the backpack, I got those red gloves on since 2018. I've been challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match, and I will to build a 444, you know. Construction workers, I'm gonna credit some massages, and some kisses, you know, because construction workers rock and roll on those cranes, you know. And as a geopolitical theoretical theorist who takes great pride in my geopolitical work, I gotta say and state it again, I predicted what's happening now. Back in November 2019, I predicted that there's going to be an international conflagration, aka World War III. I actually even created a workout training program system to go hand in hand with such a scenario. So my geopolitical theoretical analysis as an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist can be pretty intellectual. The intellectual academic. Sorry guys. Thank you. As an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, my work can be academic, overly intellectual, overly intellectual, overly sophisticated in the language and linguistics, which is utilization for my geopolitical analysis. And gotta keep in mind that I specialize in the 20th century, especially in the Cold War period, and of course in the 20th/21st centuries. So I do geopolitical theoretical analysis on a daily basis, because geopolitical events are always concurrent and always are, of course, functional, meaning that their functionality in the geopolitical events are parallel to my integral analysis and being an expert in the 20th century geopolitics. Now, of course, I get a little bit technical, a bit academic, which I don't want to, because I'm not having a discussion with philosophers and people who have doctorates in geopolitics and international relations, etc., etc., etc. I'm just gonna state again that in 2019, October, November, I predicted what's happening now. I predicted it. Not detail by detail, but in the general manner I predicted. And to make a summary, one of the major premises, common denominators, again with overly intellectual, academic, and sophisticated philosophical analysis, was that due to the fact that many nation states have now resolved their conflicts from the 20th century. These unresolved conflicts and tensions from the 20th century, they're the common denominator that they're going to resurface in the 21st century. And Israel-Hamas, if you take into consideration Israel-Hamas, is a 20th century conflict. Also, if you take into consideration Iran. The modern Islamic Republic of Iran was founded in 1979. Imagine 1979, more than 45 years. And the Cold War lasted almost 45 years. The Cold War lasted between 1947, between March 1947 and December 1991. 1991. 44 years.
Oo, hindi mo maintindihan. Uulan pa.
44 years. More than 44 years. Almost 45. So that is something which you have to take into consideration as we look at that beautiful fluorescent. I just gotta give a shout out. This garden is just gorgeous. I would love to give my anonymous friend a house like this. If I make a million, a billion, a tree, I'm gonna give half, 50%, 50%, 50%. If I make half, I'm gonna give half, 50% to my anonymous friend. And this is a gorgeous, it's 420, makes me think of 420, the relation with the cannabis culture. Here it's legal, Canada, coast to coast. Cannabis, marijuana consumption, I'm not encouraging it because myself, I haven't smoked in years and years and years, and I still have leftovers from, of course, the past, and that's what we gotta get doing, That's what we gotta get doing with that since the past, and that's what we gotta get doing on that. See, that's where it is. Well, you can see part of it, but of course you gotta get sing on the part of the rock and roll songs with that, and that's what we gotta get doing on the drill, and we gotta get doing on the left, right, Z, and that's what we gotta get the rock and rolling on the go, and we gotta get it on the love, and we gotta get it on the XYZ, and here we are on the mountain, West Mount Peak, part of the 3-peak mountain system, and part of the beautiful car there, beautiful blue. So this is on the mountain, and it's nice because we got other hydration spots and other hydration spots here and there, so it's always consequentially on the go. So yeah, I predicted what's happening now. I got proof. I have the videos, plural, several videos, and I made and created a workout training program system, which I'm advocating for the financing thereof. I have been and will continue to finance and mass finance, across the North American Collective and the workout training program system, and that's how I gotta get doing the workout training program system, which we consequently got and which we continue to have, and I've made it, designed it to go hand in hand with World War III scenario. So of course my complexities of as an independent geopolitical theoretical honest theorist can be a bit academic, philosophical, intellectual, but just again to summarize, of course, that my predictions was that due to the fact that many nation states, civilizational complexes or regions have not resolved their conflicts, and also Pakistan and India, and potentially on the horizon is China and Taiwan, China and Taiwan, China and Taiwan, China and Taiwan, China and Taiwan. We're another one major one on the horizon, which is potentially to ignite any second, any minute, any day, as is a potential global financial collapse, as we have, of course, as we have consequently we are on the verge of a public financial collapse. On the verge of a public financial collapse. See here, you gotta respect. This is for garbage. That's for recycling. Garbage, recycling, garbage. So those have to be, so please don't put in the garbage what goes in the recycling. Just gonna hydrate a bit. Usually I leave about 10 seconds, for the rustiness, because sometimes it's rust. Sometimes it's rust, Look at that. Yeah, voila, there it is. There, sometimes we're over there, sometimes we're over there, sometimes we're over there, Sometimes we're over there, that's where we are. Over there, we got that transmission line. And that's how we got, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. So we gotta get doing on the go side of things, There we are, consequential on the prudent side, and that's where we are on the go, and that's what we gotta get doing on the left and on the right and on the going, and here we are, you know. It's just something that I don't have any debt except $10,000 to the RBC, you know, so to my anonymous friend, I guess, also, and that's what we gotta get doing with that on the march here, you know, on the march, and gotta let it on the go and illusion, see. Yeah, I guess so, eh? That's what it is with that, and so we gotta get doing, man. It's something which we have to be consequential about, and we gotta get on the left, on the right, on the set side of things here, you know. It's something which we consequently are, and that's what we are here on the go. We gotta get doing on the left side of things, and we gotta get doing on the go, you know, to get on the shopping, and people are shopping, and of course there's the food prices increased, and the food prices increased, which we have, you know. It's problematic potential, which we are, you know, the problematic potentials of where we are consequently in the North American Civilisation Collective, you know. And of course my suffering also now is just economic, financial, commercial, but again, Asperger's is tough, for ass peasants. Let's say the truth, it's not easy. 60 and 80% for my tiny small fraction of the population of a community, that's what it is. It's 60 and 80%, you know. And for 60 and 80%, you know, so 60 and 80%, man, 60 and 80, that's 11 times higher than the normal unemployment rate. So that's something which I gotta give a shout out. 2 weeks ago I was given a little bit of an opportunity to make $30 an hour Canadian, 150, so that was great. And I paid a little bit of my debt, and now I'm back $10,000 in debt because, you know, expenses, rent, and paid my rent already, paid for June, paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, got some food, got some coffee, but I guess coffee's gonna run out next week. So I'm glad that the other coffee, which increased tremendously, they reduced it by $4. I guess nobody was buying because 3 years ago it was $6.99. Then it went up by $5 from $6.99. It went up, of course, to $12.99, $11.99, $11.99. Then it went up 11 to $11.99. Then another $5 to $16.99. So it increased $10. $10. What a beautiful machine. By $10, but if you check the ratio, that is $6.99 and $10. That's $6.99. It was 3 years and a half ago, so that's $16.99. So of course, with somebody who can afford it, if you can afford it, that's good. But other people like myself who are financially struggling, of course, we're financially struggling, who can't afford it. Hey, look at that. For the graduates, that's nice. You did it. I like that one. Kiana, congratulations. Good for you. For the graduates, I gotta sing some rock and roll. Hey, you know, I gotta sing some rock and roll. You done got that diploma. I got that diploma. I got a high school diploma. I got some reference letters, but I don't remember. No, I don't remember. High school, I can't go back that far. I have flashes, like, it's blackout. Whenever I try to remember my life prior, it's like, I remember being attacked by surprise, hit my head, and on the concrete in Montreal Metro, I had a dislocated right arm, the shoulder, right shoulder was bloodied up. Then I went to the Jewish General, it was cracked back in place by doctors, and I was put on some meds, and I was on some coma, so I guess they tried... from, I don't know exactly, a gangster or something, whatever. I have plenty of scars, some tattoos I don't even remember, like the lion in Canada. I don't remember any of my tattoos when I got them. I wrote in journals, I have some writings in journals, but just blackouts in my memory, just like blackouts, like memory loss, amnesia, RA, specifically. Beautiful garden. Wow, one of the beautifulest I ever seen. In here, in this zone, just gorgeous. So retrograde amnesia, sometimes it's caused by trauma to the head, which paradoxically trauma to the head can trigger also the regaining memory, prolonged illness, or drug use, drug abuse, or alcoholism, being an alcoholic. So too much alcohol can also cause, alcoholic intakes can also cause memory loss. So I don't know if I was an alcoholic, if I drank too much, whatever the case may be, and that's what it is with that. And we gotta get it on the go, and I see blurred. I gotta get on that blur side of things, and we gotta go. Saying on the do and saying on the left, right, said. That's what we gotta get doing on the drill, you know, something which we gotta get specifically to turn our heads left and right here when we cross the streets. See, it goes up and down there. See, it goes up and then going on the down. See, that's what we gotta get doing on that. And here we are, you know. Here we are on the zone, and that's all we got, man, you know. We got on that consequential, and we got on that prudence, man, you know. That's how we are, you know. And that's all we gotta get it to be on that hydration and to get on the go and to get now, you know. And also survive COVID 2020, February, March. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. We're like death, pestilence, and like death, pestilence, and disease. When I say it, well, it's like death, pestilence, and disease. So I admire that beautiful garden, gorgeous. That's why I felt like it was like death, pestilence, and disease, and being like it was like death, pestilence, and disease, and that's what it was. And take nothing for granted. I got 3 vaccines. I'm triple vaxxed. 3. That's it for me. And I keep the protocols to the best of that ability. Public hygienic protocols. Sometimes public hygiene, it's encourage people in public hygiene, encourage people in working out, training, exercising. And if you're a millionaire, billionaire, don't be so selfish. Across the 63, the empire got to get 10% from the billionaires, millionaires for the Dragon Army, aka the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and to get the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum to build a 4 and to build based on my new Dragon Army total new 911 Dragon Army North American Collective for the 63. See, it goes down like that, steep, and then when you go there, it goes up. So the mountain still goes up, mountain peak, and then goes like that, see? Like that. So it goes down, and that's how we're gonna get doing with that. And so we're gonna get rock and roll and turn the head left and right here. Across the street and we're lucky here in Hakala, Montreal Metropolis. We still got a lot of greenery among the concrete jungle. Still got a lot of greenery about all the concrete jungle. We still got a lot of greenery. So that's how we got now the requirements to implement the new 911 Dragon Army protocols, total 911 for total security, total service, total defense. For the creation of the Dragon Army, the North American Integrated Dynasty, we have to do a great census, and get rid of the border, create a new passport, and a new passport, and a new currency. And fuse the 63, and we gotta make a public-private partnership also to rebuild the North American ghettos. The ghettos of North America, aka the North American urban cities, and I will to build the 4. The 4 are the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, to be built Canada-United States joint, and to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome. Before it used to be known as the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and after that it was known as the Mercedes-Benz. Before that it was known as the Louisiana Superdome. So he changed names 3 times, just like I changed names, and that's what it is with that. And that's how we gotta get beautiful flowers here. So due to the fact that he changed names several times, and we gotta get on the go, and they changed names several times. Just like I changed my name, although officially still gotta make some paperwork and make finance, because financially stressed, but I'm very rich, affluent, and wealthy. Very rich, affluent, and wealthy. Very rich, affluent, and wealthy. Especially in kisses. Created from the goddess, speaking of the goddess, forgotten goddess. I will to build the forgotten goddess, GODDSS temple. The forgotten goddess temple, the forgotten goddess temple. The forgotten goddess temple. GODDSS. The forgotten goddess temple. The forgotten goddess temple. GODDSS. The forgotten goddess. GODDSS. And goddess temple. Forgotten goddess. And GODDSS. Temple along with the... This looks like a snake, eh? Forgotten Goddess Temple, and want to build a Rainbow People's Palace. The Rainbow People's Palace, Rainbow People's Palace, the Rainbow People's Palace. For my fellow neurodivergent, LGBTQ community, the neurodivergent. Neurodivergent. Gotta watch it there. Sometimes they come fast here, you know. You gotta watch it for them. They come fast sometimes, you know. Gotta be watching that. Sometimes they come fast. They come fast, you know. So just turn your heads. My fellow auntie there, you know, you're speaking on the phone and this whatever. Maybe you turn your heads left and right, but just make it, give people the benefit of the doubt, but just be prudent, eh? So basically, of course, however the case may be, we gotta get it on the left and on the right and in the middle and on all those beautiful, colorful school supplies, or if they're empty, I don't know. This blocks is blocking the way here. The car is blocking the pedestrian street, and it's a danger. See, because you're blocking there a bit, and people are coming from both sides. Both the cars can come on both sides. So that's when somebody is with a dog, like my auntie just passed. There's a risk, eh? So the car like that is a bit risky. So best if you would have placed it like in front of the other one, like in front of the white one, best. Just on one side, you know what I mean? Just technical stuff, meters and calculation, mathematical arithmetics. Just like a citizen type of conscious, public, private. You know, because in the public we have added responsibilities, and this is public sphere. So, you know, I can sing, I can rock and roll, I can dance, I can go naked with us. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. And that's how we gotta get doing, you know. That's how we gotta get doing, you know. You gotta get doing on that, man, and just gotta get it on the left side of things, and we gotta get doing on the side of things, you know, as we go, you know. It's just something we gotta be prudent on, and so we gotta get doing on the left, you know, to get it on the go. So that's what we gotta get doing on the left, you know, to get here on the right side and on the yes and on the left, and you do it on the. That's why we gotta get loving, man. Sometimes love is necessary for the requirements, and gotta get it on the love, you know, to get for the love side. And see, we got some of that beautiful stuff here. Beautiful stuff, beautiful white flowers, and gotta get it on the love, and gotta get it on the butchers, bakers, nurses, and the doctors, the electricians, and wow, those are really nice, see? Wow, those are special. These are also, they're the same actually. Because it's, if you check, they have a mathematical design. Okay, I see them a bit blurred, but if I approach a little bit, they seem very symmetrical. The multicolored, the bicolor, two colors, just like the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon King is a binational, binational Canada, United States affair. The Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, the green for the DJ, and the red for the dragon army. That's how we got. So we gotta get doing on that. Beautiful. It's a beautiful place, and we gotta get all the way. And sometimes we just gotta be in the moment, you know, and focused and appreciating nature, what we can find, or also in harmony with civilization, you know. We gotta get that nature harmony with civilization, and that's what the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom is all about. The public-private partnership. It's pledge your allegiance, friends with benefits only, you know. You wanna love, you're black, white, or man, woman, white, or black, whatever. You're Montreal hot cotton, but you gotta be 18 though. You gotta have to be 18 plus. I'm gonna card you just like when you go in the club, just like when you go. No fake ID, please. No fake ID, no fake ID, no fake ID. Just like when you go in the club, and just like when you go in the club, or just like when you go to get a little bit of that legal. Just when you go get that legal cannabis or alcohol, and you get carded, so I will apply that standard policy. You can show me the cards if you want to get some of that rainbow dragon loving, priest and hunter, double trouble 2 in 1, and you know there's a woman inside this body. 50-50. We're gonna discuss the DRT and again back to geopolitics, and sometimes leave the baggage at the door, and you know, my scars and your scars and my scars and your scars aside, and so we gotta get doing, you know, and my scars aside and your scars and all that it is with that. We gotta get it on the service, and so I gotta get drilling, finding that dancing goddess, the Dragon Kingdom, and yeah, the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, you know, the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, to get it on the love side of things. And that's how we got, you know, sometimes these dimensions of the body, you know, to get it on the things which are symmetrical in the objective ideas and ideations of the philosophy of the geopolitical thinking. That my geopolitical theoretical analysis sometimes is abstract, but more than abstract, it's more intellectual, more academic, more scholarly. But again, I predicted what's happening now. So when I say the North American collective, or collective civilizational complex of North America, or the North American civilizational complex, that is a geopolitical statement. Because I'm a philosopher, I'm a Quebecer Canadian North American, but I'm a Quebecer Canadian North American. And as much as I know the philosophies, the ideologies, the histories of the Israeli-Arab conflict, Israel-Palestine conflict, the Middle East situation and conflict and history, the India-Pakistan dates from 1947, the Taiwan-China, the Republic of China is the island of Taiwan, while the People's Republic of China is mainland China. But I know their conflicts, their ideologies, anyway, if you want to discuss China, you have to have a little bit of knowledge of governance of China. The governance of China, the governance of China, the governance of China. A bit of knowledge of the governance of China, which I believe now is about to get that 5th volume. Please don't leave that trash here. Gotta take it out. Don't leave that there, please. Just put it in the recycling. That's just a no-no. Just this one. Come on, people. Just there's recycling all over the place. We got good sanitation, good recycling, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing on the go, you know. So it's something which we got, something which we gotta be attentive to, because you know, you leave it under here, you know, and the flora, fauna, you know, I gotta always be prudent about that, and always be circumventional and be under circumstance to make it go here. 42. So we go towards the law, telema. So back to geopolitics. Again, that is a geopolitical statement, a philosophical geopolitical statement, which I really believe in, and it's part of my contribution. Is everything that I say is relating to what constitutes for me as a philosopher and independent geopolitical theoretical analyst theorist, the North American collective civilizational complex, or the North American civilizational complex, of which here in Quebec, 1 out of the 63, because we're going to fuse in a public-private partnership, democratic, republican manner, the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, the north and the south. Well, us Canadians, true north, strong and free, we got to add some love to true north, strong and free, true north, strong and free. You can't just be strong and free. The United States, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave. I lived 3 times. Once as a woman, was born there, post 76, twice as a man. Reincarnation. Served in 2 different wars, and here I am now from Montreal, Quebec, and so many things to see. So the North American civilizational complex is a new, emergent civilizational complex, meaning that it's distinct from Western civilization, but not divorced. Those are the main ideas, theories, and philosophies behind my statement, the North American civilizational complex. I wish I could buy my anonymous friend a place here. This would be too close to the mountain for my anonymous friend. Would be by the river best. By the river, it's for the car. By the river best. By the river, and here's the mountain. Mount Royal, my doctor, my mistress, who I have to confluence and congruate. And we got to get those new 911 Dragonomy protocols, which I started writing about 7 years ago, and I revised and added and contributed to that thought, which is for the integration of the security forces and all security forces and armed forces in what I call the Dragonomy, nicknamed Dragonomy, aka the North American Imperial SSD Legion. Imperial SSD for security, service, and defense only. So transmuting all the philosophies to move towards service, a public-private partnership, new 911 integrated security, service, and defense protocols for the North American Collective, where the security forces and police forces act for reinforcement of general wellness, promoted to fitness initiatives, and promoted to tourism initiatives, which I've written some academic, diplomatic, of course, concordiums, and rather relating to the mass financing of tourism across the 63, vice versa, from the United States to Canada, and from Canada to the United States, which of course will open up and will diversify, not only open up but diversify, but also contribute to the general overall wellness of the North American civilizational complex, will also contribute to the general overall wellness of the North American Collective. Would also contribute to the general overall wellness of the North American Collective as we go up. Gotta get for the building of the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and we're gonna get to that building, and we're gonna go drilling on some rock and roll, so that's how we're gonna do, and that's how we're gonna get it in, and that's how we're gonna get it left and right, and contribute to the building, and contribute to the doing, and contribute to everything that we have, including those beautiful flowers. So it will be for solidification, the new 911 Dragon Army protocols, the new 911 North American integrated, or the new 911 Dragon protocols, or Dragon 911 protocols for the North American Collective, is a document. Most of my work that I discuss, you have to keep in mind, predates a bit 2017, but that was my era of depression and suicide for a few years, about 3.5, and after crossing Canada, that's basically my rebirth. And of course during COVID, another rebirth during COVID, and another rebirth during COVID. Another rebirth during COVID, because I died of COVID, and I guess another rebirth now on the way. So I'm gonna do a big spring cleaning Friday, Monday, big ending spring, beginning summer Monday, first Monday of summer, ending that June, and pre-July 1st, because July 1st is moving day, but I don't have that money to move unless I play lotto. $5. My anonymous friend to play lotto, maybe we should take a $5 and gamble and play and win, or somebody makes a donation and contributes a little bit of business. So always open for business, geopolitics, sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport, and rock and roll is my trinity of special interest as an ASPE. Those things are always confluent, are always part of the dynamics of my work, and most of my work predates 2017, and 2017 is the event in August 2017. Went in British Columbia, Vancouver, and then in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Halifax, Nova Scotia. And my life before 2016, I remember 2015 gets a bit blurred. 2014 in darkness, and blackouts before that. Sometimes it's prolonged illness, alcoholism, or trauma. I've got plenty of scars. I got plenty of scars. But sometimes PTSD also. PTSD. But I'm joyous now, just financially stressed, and we need to get that rehabilitation, you know. It's something which we need to get that rehabilitation, you know. Something which we need to get on that rehabilitation, the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. Oopsie. The North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. And build the 44, build the 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. Turn your heads left and right. And now it's time to go on the mountain, and we're gonna enter by another side, the next side there. Usually we enter by here, sometimes the different sides to enter the mountain. And I'm not gonna tardy off now. I'm just gonna start discussing the DRT, the debt refusion theory. The DRT, the debt refusion theory. The DRT, debt refusion theory. DRT, debt refusion theory stands for DRT, debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is, of course, the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. And, of course, back in 2019, of course, I had created it prior to that. I had created it prior to that. And that's what it is, prior to that, you know. Prior to 2019. But in theory, it has been revised during 2020. 2020, you know, so as we go up the mountain, you know, just saw my brothers and sisters and boys and girls in blue, brothers and sisters, you know, they're not perfect, I'm not perfect. With my Asperger's has been very, very difficult, but I believe my new 911 protocols for total integration, for total security, service, and defense, you know, because I would be great at philosophizing how we can improve our relations. And yes, sometimes we have racism, subconscious discrimination against people who are different. Myself, I'm different, right? I'm different. There's other people who are different. So it's channeling those and reconciliation. I mean, my neighbors are black. There's several black families in my the next house next to me. You know, it's just diversity. Just my neighbors are black. My neighbors are diverse. You know, they're living there for at least, I think, July 1st, either 9 years or even 10 since I lived there. So I rehabilitated myself, and we have racism. Sometimes there's subconscious emotions and things which we have, you know. So we don't fully sometimes realize that we have them. Sometimes. They're just present. And those dynamics are present, whether we are aware of them consciously or subconsciously. They move us in certain ways, or, you know, maybe sometimes we just hear certain words and get triggered and get in a way that I just wanted to see this one here. Looks like somebody made it. Hey, looks like somebody had, because this is usually a trail. It looks like somebody blocked the trail here, and please don't pollute. We really need the DGA Dancing Goddess Army. See, that's a trail there. That is supposed to be a trail there. Because I know the place, but a few years and years ago, I think I haven't done this trail since a few years ago. So this must be new here. Kind of blocked, but you can go. We're just gonna contour. Maybe next time we're gonna be more expert, because now I want to get back, because yesterday I did more than 7 hours. 6 hours yesterday, more than 6 hours. Yesterday was Wednesday, I did more than 6 hours marching, and Tuesday I did more than 7 hours, and Monday I did more than 6. So I already added up to almost 20, which is what I have to average. And today's Thursday, and tomorrow's another day. So I'm gonna break my record probably this week of most hours yet for the week, ending spring nicely, because high increase in spring, and this has to be recycled. This has to be recycled. I give the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes it's just falling out of the pocket. You got some chicken, you got some good, and you got that. Is it yesterday, the 18th? So you got some chicken, and you got some bistro, and you got some meat. I give the benefit of the doubt that it fell out of the pocket of a certain individual, but I guess we gotta get it on the go sometimes, you know. Gotta get it for now. And here we go, gonna discuss the DRT. I'm just gonna say my gratitude and grateful, thankful. My rent's paid and electricity bill's paid, and got food, got coffee. So yes, tough economic financial times. And again, encourage you all to work out, train, exercise. I always say my fitness journey commences today, as yours can. I lost between 80 and 93 pounds ever since I began my fitness journey. It's time to let because we're in the wilderness. My mistress, the mountain. My doctor, the rocks on the mountain. And my mistress, the forest. The sister of the goddess from heavens. Got to rock and roll, and auctioning everything that I'm wearing. The shorts, the underwears, the socks, the military grade boots, and of course the hat, the backpack. I got those red gloves in for a main. Got them in 2018 when I started challenging Donald Trump into a boxing match, and have been ever since. And let's build the 4. By implementing the DRT, debt refusion theory, we're gonna be able to build those 4. So here it is, gonna introduce the DRT, debt refusion theory, as I go up. The DRT includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union in the 90s. Hey, look at that beautiful bird. That's a good omen. Hey, birdie. See, that's why I say don't pollute here, because we got birds, rabbits, chipmunks, squirrels, hawks, H-A-W-K, 4-letter word for my favorite bird. And we got other creatures all over, rabbits. And we got them now, and that's what we got. And we got my fellow brothers and sisters going left and right, and we're gonna pummel up. And so we're gonna go now. We're gonna do usually we go by that way. We're gonna do a little bit of the side there, because I want to see what are those 3 cones. So we're gonna discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. So due to the fact that we have reached record-breaking debt, both credit card debt, and even now in real time, I guess somebody using that PayPal, swiping that card. Send some PayPal for the Dragon Army, Dancing Goddess Army. Thank you, shout out to the fellow Aspie as Asperger's, who sent a little bit of money in about October 20 last year, 2024, like $25 and 44 cents, and that's how we gotta get doing here. You see, I'm not sure why they were put here, but what I see now is a distance, symmetrical type of distance between them, but it's something which is an ASPE thing. I think there's a few feet, whatever the case may be. Anyways, so the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, is something which we gotta be consequently imagining, and of course we have to implement, because we have reached record debt levels, and the record debt levels which have to be doing the implementing, of course, because credit cards are being swiped right now, and the problem is we have record credit card debt. Love those yellow flowers. Record credit card debt in both the public and the private is, of course, something which we have to be doing, that the public and the private, they gotta do on the private and on the private level, and the public, we're pretty much on the verge of a financial catastrophe, financial catastrophe. And that financial catastrophe can be, of course, averted. So we're gonna go through here, and making on that, and see some lovers there. There's some love that gives me some hope. Holding hands, kissing a bit, and that's always good for the dragon, rainbow dragon. Look at that beauty. See, this fell. This, if it were not for that tree, could have fallen the other way. So that's why I see like that branch and these branches. That's why I always look at that. That's why I always say, and always get it on the go, to get it on the prudence, that here the branches might fall, so you got to be aware that after rain you can get slippery. So just zigzag, bend the knees a bit, because you got this hard rocks here, and the branches fall from above. So if you hear cracks, beware, you're in danger if you take this route. And the slower you go, the more you're at risk. The slower you go, the more you're at risk here, right? The slower you go, the more you're at risk, The slower you go, the more you are at risk. Here in my mistress, the forest, on the mountain. So rock and roll, DRT is the solution, the only solution. Well, something that resembles integrally, fundamentally, my DRT theory is the solution. Of course, to implement it takes a public-private partnership. Private banking institutions such as BlackRock and Blackstone are two different financial institutions which split in the 1980s, but it's going to take Wall Street, it's going to take public and private financial institutions and organizations, of course, to implement it. So of course, to implement what I said, the aforementioned, the DRT. So that's how we're gonna have to be doing, implementing the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the universal exchange unit, for the creation of the universal exchange, and for the creation of the universal exchange unit, for the creation of the universal exchange unit, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory. There's a black bug, almost. See, it's there. See, gonna get eaten. Last time it got eaten, tried to poke my eye. A little black bug. Last time it got eaten. You're gonna get eaten, don't try to poke my eye. Eyes. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, beautiful butterfly. Debt refusion theory also includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory. Oh, the black bug's back. Oh, it's gonna get eaten. See? You see it? Yeah, now it's gonna get eaten. You try to eat me? No. I'm a dragon, I'm rainbow dragon, but avenge that 11-fold, You don't love me, you hate me, whatever, X, Y, Z, just stay away. Or be a friend with benefit and pledge your legions, Man, woman, black, white, you wanna make some loving, just ask, and Salute, salute, salute. The DRT, DRT, DRT. Refusion theory, the DRT. That refusion theory for the creation of the UE is something which we have to implement, you know. We have to implement on it, and that's what we're gonna have to do. And got some red on it, some red on it, and got a little bit of that, and looks like somebody burned some red. Something red, red, red with black on it. Still smells. Maybe yesterday got some red and got some black, but anyways, the important thing is the DRT. Just be careful because we got flora, fauna here, and we try to preserve, and that's how we're gonna try to preserve it on it, and we're gonna try to preserve it on the go here. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory, has to be implemented across the North American collective, at least. If I'm speaking binationals, we're gonna get rolling with the Dancing Goddess Dragon Kingdom and the binational Salvation Front for Canada and United States for the 63 coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and create a new currency. The DRT has to be implemented because we're on the verge of a public financial collapse. My $10,000 in debt, people are in debt. Credit cards maxed out for many people, and parallel to the maxed out credit cards, there's the increased cost of living. There's the increased cost of living. There's the increased cost of living. Increased cost of living, the increased cost of living. So we gotta secure food, and we gotta get the Dragon Army to have access to all the fast food, bills, and the Dancing Goddess Army for work for the 63. We're gonna have to get the public private punishment to have access to all hotels, motels across the 63 to implement, of course, and all the fast food joints. Well, not to abuse, we're gonna have to get, I guess, breakfast or dinner or twice for Dragon Army contingency, and those eligible are going to be those who lived in Canada and United States since 2017, at least more than 7 years, and not to have an extensive, criminal record of 44 priors in the past 7 years, I love as much as I sing for my brothers and sisters in uniform and the boys and girls in blue, rock and roll. I also sing for my brothers and sisters who do take their second chances, and they do their criminal rehabilitation, who take their second chances and do their criminal rehabilitation, who do their second chances and do their criminal rehabilitation. That's how we gotta get drilling, and that's how we gotta get doing, encouraging my brothers and sisters to get it out now, and that's what it is, man. Good for you, encouraging all. And if you want to be friends with benefits, exchanging massages, because I can't afford a massage therapy session, but I recognize that not all of us have the athletic support. So the Dragon Army, we're gonna have to get that SSD, total security, total service, total defense, and of course implement my theory, the total mobile defense theory, which when we had the fifth letter to the acronym TMDT, total mobile defense theory, we had the total mobile defense theory, we add to the TM, total mobile defense theory, TMDT. When we add the system, that means that the total mobile defense theory is put into practice, into action. The theory becomes a system, right? When we add the fifth acronym to the TMDT, total mobile defense theory, which is a defensive theory binational for Canada United States joint complex of the North American civilization. Cannot discuss it. I don't get into it. I don't discuss it because it's binational Canada United States. They're designed. It's a binational security for the NORAD complex, for the NORAD military alliance, but for the ground, not for the air, because NORAD is mostly for the aerial space, but this one's designed for the ground. Total mobile defense theory, and parallel to implement the total mobile defense theory via Operation Northern Scorpion, because we have a scorpion that goes from Mexico. You find it in Mexico, United States, and Canada. There's only one species of scorpion, which comes all the way to Canada. It's called the Northern Scorpion, the North, Scorpion of the North. The true North, strong and free. We gotta add some living to that. Has a scorpion, which is the northern scorpion, the northern Scorpio comes all the way to Canada. Yeah, we find it in the prairies, Alberta, British Columbia. You find it in several states of Canada. As we're going to fuse for the 63, 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, going to become the 63 perpetual unity of the new union of this new Democratic Republic, which we got to move it towards the 21st century for this great public-private partnership in essence and Democratic Republic and strong individual liberty with a strong collective sense as we're going to merge together and integrate for the individual and for the collective. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, integrates in it monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union, So their theory that they implemented in the 90s called the monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So they integrated, of course, their monetary integration theory, So they created their common currencies in the 90s. They destroyed the Germans, the Italians, the French, countries. They destroyed their national central banks. They no longer have national central banks. You know, they have, look at that beauty. They have multinational central bank. A multinational central bank, or multinational central bank. And the DRT, the debt refusion theory, of course, stands for D, debt, R, refusion, T theory. The debt refusion theory is the theory which, of course, has to be implemented because we're on the verge of a public and private financial collapse. It could happen tomorrow. Last day of spring, it could happen Monday, first Monday of summer, before July 1st, July 4th, July 24th. It can happen because too much debt and the cost of living keeps increasing. It's not slowing down. The cost of living just keeps every week. There's prices increasing every week. Paradoxically, I think because it was not selling and maybe they were panicking. I don't know. They had too much stock. But the coffee that I mentioned, it went from $6.99. It was 3 years ago. 3 years and a half ago, I bought it for $6.99. It went from $6.99 to $16.99. Food to $16.99 to $16.99. So $10, all $5 once, $5 once, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how they gotta get drilling, you know. So it's something which we have to be mindful of, as you know, we gotta get on that love side of things, and we gotta implement the DRT, the debt refusion theory, So the DRT, the debt refusion theory, integrates monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is, of course, the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So my DRT theory explained now as simple as I can, because due to Asperger's, there's a characteristics of utilizing too much functional, academic, intellectual verbosities, and academic, overly intellectual, and academic linguistics, which are not proponent for the utilization of such words. In this circumstance, it could be simple to explain. So keep in mind that my DRT theory, that refusion theory, is of course the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So of course, I'm just gonna hydrate first. Better if I hydrate first. Because if I hydrate first, then I'm gonna have more I do a better at explaining. So I'm just gonna leave it a bit. Gonna do better. So what I do is I'm gonna get it on the go here. Gonna leave 10 seconds. Usually before I drink, you know. Gonna get it on the go. Ten seconds, 20 seconds. Let's go. Oh yeah. So I gotta give a shout out to public workers who built that for us to have, you know. I don't know who you are, but thanks. Probably built it, I'm assuming, but I'm thinking they went deep underground and they kind of clicked it, related it, and they built it with somewhere there, and they put those pipes, you know. So we got work to do, man. We got work, brothers and sisters in North American Collective. We got lots of work, and I'm gonna now discuss the DRT and the dead refusion theory, you know, for the North American civilizational complex. And here we got civilization is a privilege. Isn't that just beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? Wow, isn't that so beautiful to get it on the go? And we gotta get it on that drive. We gotta get it on the XYZ, and we gotta get it on the love side of things, and we gotta get it on the love side of the things which we have, you know. But that is a mushroom. Isn't that amazing? That's a good omen. A mushroom. Look at that mushroom right inside the tree. Look at that. A mushroom. Beautiful nature, eh? It's like so. Nature, God is so the greatest scientist, and the greatest artist. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. My $10,000 included, your $10,000 included, and all the debt, public and private debt, converted into US dollars. We're gonna have to do the conversion. So my $10,000, your $10,000, all of it together. My $10,000, your $10,000, we're gonna add it up with the United States debt. So of course the Canadian dollar is gonna have to be added to the United States debt. So all that money is gonna be converted. So my $10,000, your $10,000, whatever you have, XYZ, all the citizens of Canada, we're gonna have to take all the debt, public and private debt, all of the public and private debt. We're gonna of course take it, all the public private debt, convert it to US dollars. All that debt, go uncle, go. My uncle here, my family here, I admire when they take this route because it's steep. So I gotta salute. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. We're gonna convert it into US dollars. All that money is, my DRT theory, has to be established binationally. It has to be. Usually we continue up. We're gonna go roundabout this time. So it has to be binationally. Canada, United States joint, because look at that beauty. Because, and this one is nice, eh? Because we're in a similar, both public and private financial situation. Both in a 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 public and private financial situation. That's just how we are. That's just how it is. We're in a both public and private and financial situation. That's just how it is. We're both in the same public and private financial situation, both in the public and private financial situation, you know. Canada, United States, of course, much of the world, but I'm speaking as a North American. So all the debt of Canada combined, my $10,000, all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars, add it with the US dollar, that money, add it up. We're gonna lay the foundations for a new central bank, whatever we call it. And we're gonna create a new currency called the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot UE, the UE, the UE, the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot U. The universal exchange is going to have the value of the US dollar. We're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. 10%. It could be lower than 10% by law. New financial law, by national financial law, is going to be emerging for the kingdom, 63. And of course, we're going to take it on, and of course, we're going to do lots of good with that money. So all the public and the private debt, we're going to convert it into US dollars, add it with the US dollar. All that money is going to finance the new central bank with all the other money in circulation. We're going to create the UE, the universal exchange it, and a similar currency, which is going to have the value of the US dollar. So it's going to be similar to a new currency created in the European Union by the European nation states in the 90s. So that's why I made the statement a priori before, that the DRT, debt refusion theory, integrates monetary integration theory, monetary integration theory, the MIT, not to be confused with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, implements and integrates the monetary integration theory, which is not MIT as in Boston, the educational institution, but of course monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented by the European nation states in Europe. Now they have a supranational central bank. Germans, Italians, French no longer have their old national central banks. And as I'm about to reach the top of the mountain, I think that there's a storm thunder coming. Storm thunder coming. I don't mind. Storm thunder lightning. I don't mind. Storm thunder lightning. So that's what it is now. So we have to implement the DRT, debt refusion theory, the debt refusion theory. So all the debt, public and private, is going to create this new currency, the UE. We're going to create this UE, and we're going to do lots of good with that money. We're going to mass finance citizens' fitness, mass finance citizens across the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories across the empire. Mass finance citizens to work out for wellness. We're going to build a 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome, where the Blackout Ball, aka Harbaugh Ball, aka Bro Bowl, one of my favorite Super Bowls, where the 49ers lost. Where the 49ers lost. The 49ers lost. Where the 49ers lost. 49ers lost. The 49ers lost. By 3 points only, but before I guess Kaepernick. And of course, to be the biggest ever sports arena complex for Sportus in Perpetuitis, kind of an English, Latin English, Sportus in Perpetuitis, where we're going to have sports by the sports leagues, men and women integrated, and of course, etc. Universities and boxing and football and dancing, and we're going to build on the Canadian-US border for Sportus in Perpetuitis. We're going to get rid of the border, create a common passport, mass finance the Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated SSD Legion, Security and Service and Defense Legion, and SSD Legion, the SSD, Security and Service and Defense Legion, the SSD, the Security, Service and Defense Legion, the Security, Service and Defense Legion, as a Democratic Republican, pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrism. My universal revolutionary centrism is tied hand in hand with my Trinity theories, the aforementioned and discussed right now, the DRT, debt refusion theory, the CIT, citizen integration theory, the DFT, the democratic fusion theory, the DFT, democratic fusion theory, the DFT, democratic fusion theory. And we're going to mass finance tourism, inner empire tourism across the 63 for my fellow Canadians to visit the 50 states across the 63. 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 I'm gonna finance the building thereof. Forgotten Goddess Temple as well, and institute, initialize the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dancing Goddess Army, aka North American Integrated Dance League, with the Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated SSD Legions, SSD Security Service and Defense Legion, the SSD only for SSD, and for that Trinity in parentheses, emergency response, ER, integrated with all the firefighters, all the men and women in uniforms, and security, police, 50505050, and the armed forces, and this new security service and defense institutions based on my new 911 Dragon Total North American Collective security service and defense for total security, total service, total defense, and create a common path. We got to focus on coast to coast, ocean to ocean, the ports and the airports, and every day I got to be let know everything that's coming in, going out of the airports of the kingdom, the empire of 63, and everything that's coming in by the ships, by the ports and the airports, 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 24/7 Dragon Army, total security, total service, total defense across the 63. Gonna create a common passport and build a 44, construct, build a 44, 44, construct, and build a 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, the Montreal Underground Village. Cheyenne Mountain Complex is the NORAD headquarters, and paradoxically, kind of a paradox, but also by the Hamas tunnels. The Hamas tunnels were built, of course. The Hamas tunnels were built between 2007, between 2007, 2007, and I guess last year or post 2007, and since, I don't know if they continued during the post October 7th war, but they started building them since they took power in 2007, and Hamas was founded in the 80s during the Cold War period. Referring again to my geopolitical analysis of 2019 when I predicted that an international conflagration of World War III is on the horizon. So that's what we got to do, that's what we got to rock and roll it, and that's how we got to live by, and that's how we got to Trinity up, and that's something which we got to do, and that's something which we got to be on the accomplishments and on the rock and roll, and that's something which we got to initialize here as we see that is potentially a storm on the horizon with some thunder lightning, and that's how we got to get doing on that, and we got to get on that manifesto and get it on the love and get for that DRT, build the 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. If you see the wind here and you're here in the forest, beware, beware, beware. I guess I got the baton, but I got to speed it up a bit. Even if it falls on me, I die here. Last video, just at my nana's friend where I live. I guess my address is where I lived from the past more than, I guess, 9 or 10 years is going to be July 1st. So more than 8 years for sure. More than 7 years for sure. I lived there, probably even 10 this July 1st. So that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get doing. So it's bury me with Papa Crowley in New Jersey, Hampton. Alistair Crowley, the fool, prophet. For me, he's a prophet on the prophet in New Jersey, Hampton, New Jersey, in the U.S. His ashes are there somewhere, Hampton, New Jersey, and it's a third of me right here at the back of the Belvedere Conjurac, a third of me in Hampton, New Jersey, a third of me at the back of Belvedere Conjurac, and a third of me sent to the city of the pyramids, a third of me sent to the city of the pyramids, where me and my anonymous friend in a past lives incarnation, we helped put some bricks and build some of those hieroglyphs and paint and do some of those buildings of those pyramids. Not all, but some. So pledge your allegiance to our family. We're going to implement the DRT, debt refusion theory. We're going to create the universal exchange, and we're going to get drilling, and we're going to get mass financing fitness activities, mass finance tourism for general wellness, and establishing a strong esprit de corps with the kingdom empire of the 63, the Democratic Republic, as we're going to fuse, and we're going to put it for the French language, and we're going to mass finance tourism. We're going to implement my Trinity theories thereafter, and other policies for total rejuvenation, and the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, in order for my brothers and sisters incarcerated to and do their redemption by contributing and building those 44 tunnels. In case of a thermonuclear war, we got to start building them ASAP, emergency DRT. Or we're gonna have to get, you know, the Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated SSD Legion, SSD, Security, Service and Defense, 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 Security, Service and Defense. For total security, total service, total defense, the collective North American civilizational complex, something which we gotta be doing, and it's super important to start ASAP. It starts with me here on the mountain, my mistress, the forest, the mountain, my doctor, and my third home, and the fourth dimension to that, not just mine, but yours, ours, and yours, ours, and collectively. Pledge your legions, and the DRT. Gonna implement the DRT, and my fellow cousin there just watch the rock, stay safe, and he's going on a velocity and a speed that is good for you, and gotta get it for that look, and I gotta get it on his love and friends with benefits anytime. And I don't like violence, I don't like violence, but I lived it, and I am hypervigilant, because I was attacked by surprise, you know, so I guess I got PTSD, you know, so I'm always hypervigilant, but it's channeling the aggression. So my brother, citizen, cousin, and see him jogging, and salute, something which I gotta salute and applaud, and it's not only encouraging but supporting and mass financing. And I don't have a massage therapy sessions, I don't have massages, masseuses, and private you know, like the athletes. And please reduce the ticket cost for the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, and give some public workers some of those tickets to some, you know, we need to integrate the CIT, citizen integration too. We're gonna have to mass finance citizens to go with the sports facilities, and sports facilities, because some youth have never experienced, you know, going to hockey games, going to football games, going to basketball games, and going to baseball games. Please, millionaires, owners, billionaires of the major sports leagues, finance the Dragon Army, 10%, and the Dancing Goddess Army, because dancing is my favorite sport. And as I march now, I dance a little bit with my eyes, with my head, my toes, my feet, and I always create choreography, because dancing to dance is my favorite sport. So as I go on these military grade boots, which I'm auctioning $1 million, and you know, we're gonna implement the DRT, lateral fusion theory, for the creation of the UE, something which we gotta proceed by. And I got something in my eye again, something which we gotta proceed by, and something which we gotta do, and that is something which we gotta be implementing on, and something which we gotta be switching to that French, because we're in La Belle Province, and it's always something which we have made here, the great linguistic compromise of the North American linguistic compromise for the French language, and it's something which we have to continue to do as Quebecer Canadians, as Quebecer Canadian North American, as a Quebecer Canadian North American, fully fusing with my brothers and sisters in the 50 states, and all ALL who come to join us here in the Empire, the Democratic Republican Kingdom of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. And gonna implement that DRT by implementing and that lateral fusion theory and creating the UE. We're also gonna build more hydroelectric dams here, Hydro-Quebec dams. We're gonna build some more of that, and we're gonna also mass finance fitness tourism and build the Golden Dome. We're gonna put a HAWK, HAWK in the Golden Dome to include Canada. And by the DRT, we're going to be able to make mass defensive, because you saw in Israel what's happening. The Iron Dome kind of failed, and there's ICBM rockets that can reach us. North Korea, China, and Russia have capabilities, at least those three that we know of, have capabilities for their ICBM rockets, standing for intercontinental ballistic missiles, potentially to be nuclearly armed, or biological weapons to be mounted on them, biological weaponry. They can reach us, both Canada and United States, and deep into Canada, deep into the United States. Some can travel 8,000, 7,000, 10,000, 9,500, etc. So we need to get the Golden Dome, and we need to get the HAWK, and we need to start ASAP. This is an emergency, and I'm just a piece of dust, nobody, but I'm an intellectual, academic, artist, athlete, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, philosopher, an independent geopolitical economist who's financially stressed, struggling, who knows a little bit about computers, supercomputers, ICBM rockets, satellites, sats, and microchips, and coding in a parallel life. That's all I do. Supercomputers, ICBM rockets, radio telecommunication rockets, and all I do in that parallel life is revolves around radio telecommunication, rockets, scientists, satellites, sats, and supercomputers, and cyborgs and microchips. Maybe I'm a cyborg. I wouldn't know, right? Would I? No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be aware if I'm a cyborg. If I'm a cybernetic organism, I wouldn't be self-conscious. I wouldn't be aware. My awareness would be maybe that I'm human. Maybe that I'm human, right? So, I don't know. Am I a cyborg? Is Dragon a cyborg? But, because I've been on a fitness journey, and I've been on a fitness journey. I know I lose weight, I eat, I love eating good wafers. I masturbate, although I got scars on my little clit, dick clit, and androgynous pansexual, and literally I got scars on my little clit, dick, pussy clit, and clit, dick, half, 50-50, and sometimes it goes rocket, sometimes it goes big rocket, sometimes it goes big rocket, like earlier today, I'm not gonna say, but yeah, I masturbate. I'm not in need of, I just masturbate, I get erections, and, I am pansexual rainbow. Just sometimes I get itchy, but I'm applying some cream on it, but I have like this big scar, can't pay a dermatologist. Dermatologist is expensive nowadays, so $300. I don't have to see an official dermatologist, because to see the cream, to see the application of the cream, if it's applied, and if what that's called, it could be eczema, psoriasis, to see it's a big type of scar, discoloration of the skin, and it's, I had it for years, but it just itches sometimes, and I have to like scratch, sometimes like ants, like ants passing on it. My privates, irregular, but less and less now, because I've been applying a cream, but I don't know if it's ever gonna go away. I'm just watching so I don't scratch in public, because like scratching in public is a bit, if you got children and whatever, it's just. But yeah, I live with that. I live with my scars. I live with being an Asperger's, being an Aspian. I live with this, and I also live with the pride, especially in my geopolitical theoretical analysis and theorist work, and especially in the following, in the past, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, which we have to be implementing ASAP for the 63 Pledge of Allegiance legions. The DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, is something which we have to be implementing ASAP. So now we're gonna switch to that French, because we're in La Belle Province. So welcome, brothers and sisters, and encouraging all to work out, train, exercise French now, because we in La Belle Province. So we're gonna give it a little bit of rock and roll. Bienvenue, on est déjà sur la montagne québécoise. Je pense qu'il y a des coups de tonnerre qui vont s'en venir. On est dans la forêt aujourd'hui, on fait de l'entraînement physique. Vous voyez ces branches qui tombent ici, c'est des branches qui sont tombées, peut-être celle-là est tombée aussi d'en haut. Je suis prudent, parce que vous voyez comme celle-là, ça tombe d'en haut, fait que si vous êtes sur la bicyclette, des fois vous entendez que ça craque, mais il faut que vous bougez, surtout que quand il vente, vous voyez que ça bouge bien fort. Vous êtes à risque dans la forêt. Ma maîtresse, la forêt sur qui est mon docteur. Mon docteur, c'est la Mont-Royal, la montagne, bien sûr la montagne de la métropole de Montréal. Je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique québécoise. Je vais commencer avec la gratitude. J'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café puis du thé chez nous. Puis aujourd'hui, je suis bien jovial, content, de bonne humeur, sauf que je vis une crise financièrement. Je suis stressé, mais j'applique pour des emplois. J'ai toujours ouvert pour l'opportunité de travail, mais malheureusement, moi, je vis avec une condition qui s'appelle l'Asperger's, aussi connu comme l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, fait que c'est quelque chose qui empêche un peu l'emploi à long terme. Fait que à cause de cet emploi, que j'ai pas d'emploi à long terme, ben, vous voyez ces belles fleurs blanches, et trois, et un gros, un moyen, puis un petit. Et puis il y en a un autre, 4. Et comment ils sont? C'est des belles fleurs. Ici, ils viennent pousser, ça fait pas longtemps, il y en a plusieurs, là. Et c'est des belles fleurs blanches comme ça, là. Toute une belle fleur ici, là, checkez ça. Des belles fleurs sur la montagne, québécoise. Faut pas qu'on les bouge, québécoises de la montagne, les belles fleurs, faut pas faire la cueillette, cueillir les fleurs sur la montagne, je vous invite à la danse. Puis oui, j'ai l'Asperger's dans les relations sociales, j'ai de la misère un peu, on peut être un peu difficile, nous, mais c'est pas parce qu'on est difficile nécessairement, c'est que nous, les Asperger's, dans les choses sociales ou dans les interactions, des fois, ils peuvent paraître un peu bizarres. On a certaines difficultés, on a moins de la misère, on a, je vais dire un peu en parenthèse, un petit retardement dans certaines choses, parce que notre cerveau, il y a des mutations, fait que les Asperger's, nous, encore une fois, l'Asperger's, que je suis moi-même aspi, c'est pas une maladie mentale, donc c'est une condition de neurodivergence et ça fait que nous, on voit le monde différemment, on a des mutations dans le cerveau et à cause de ces mutations, bien sûr, on voit le monde d'une manière différente. Fait qu'à cause de ces mutations, on a certaines difficultés dans la communication sociale. Des fois, ça peut être bien difficile pour nous, les Asperger's, parce qu'on voit le monde différemment et des fois, bien sûr, la communication de manière qu'on communique, ça peut être étrange. Fait que malheureusement, dans ma communauté, le taux de chômage, il est très, très élevé comparément à la communauté de neurotypiques, dont vous, la majorité des gens, de 99,56%, mais vous êtes des neurotypiques comparé à moi-même qui je fais partie d'une petite minorité de 1%, moins de la moitié d'un pourcentage, c'est bien sûr 0,44%. Fait que dans cette condition que je vis maintenant avec l'Asperger's, c'est quelque chose, bien sûr, qu'il faut toujours que je fasse un travail de bâtir des ponts, construire des ponts avec les neurotypiques qui sont vous-même. Puis ma communauté, bien sûr, c'est une communauté qui souffre de le sans-emploi. C'est le taux de chômage de sans-emploi chez les Asperger's. Puis c'est un paradoxe parce qu'on n'est pas une grosse communauté. Hein. Il n'y a pas beaucoup des Asperger's. Il y a bien des gens, des citoyens qui ne savent même pas c'est quoi cette condition de l'Asperger's. C'est nouveau, c'est au 20e, 21e siècle. C'est pas commun, c'est commun chez les gens. Puis on ne peut pas l'enlever, il n'y a pas de médicaments. C'est juste qu'on a des mutations dans le cerveau. Puis des fois, c'est héréditaire, biologique, génétique, ou c'est par l'environnement aussi qui cause. Donc, la cause de l'Asperger's, l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel, n'est pas connue à 100%. Et on démystifie de plus en plus, là, mais il y a bien encore du travail à faire. Fait que dans ce point de convergence, c'est qu'on est rendu ici sur la montagne, puis moi-même, il faut que je fasse attention des fois pour bâtir les ponts, parce que je dois dire la gratitude puis des salutations à mon ami anonyme qui m'avait donné un livre. Et grâce à ce livre-là, j'ai appris bien des choses que je ne savais pas auparavant, que moi-même, ça m'a fait voir mes vulnérabilités aussi, parce que des fois, les Asperger's, on est vulnérable. Comme si vous voyez quelqu'un, mettons, dans le magasin, qui inspecte. Tu sais, il va prendre un produit, il va inspecter le produit de proche. Il va regarder tout le produit, amener le produit tellement proche de son visage, puis l'inspecter comme pendant 45 secondes ou quoi que ce soit. Ah, j'ai de la poussière dans l'œil. Là, c'est le gauche, là. Comme quelqu'un, on dirait qu'il m'a donné de la poussière, mais il n'y a pas de fantôme sur le monde royal, à moins que ce soit mes réincarnations d'une autre vie, puis il dit « Hey! Qu'est-ce que tu fais sur la montagne? Tu t'arrêtes pas de venir ici? » Je dis « Ouais, mais je suis ici dans une autre vie, puis dans celle-là, là. Fait que je reviens ici souvent. Des fois, j'étais une homme-femme, mais entre mes croyances dans la réincarnation d'un bord puis de l'autre, ça fait que l'Asperger's, l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel, mais c'est quelque chose que ça touche 0,44% des citoyens et citoyennes. Fait qu'il n'y a pas bien des Asperger's. C'est pas une grosse... C'est pas une communauté là, comme de 5, 6, 7% comme l'autre communauté que je fais partie, la communauté de LGBTQ, en étant moi-même androgyne pansexuel. Je suis aux hommes puis aux femmes, comme on dit en québécois directement en français. Mais je voulais me faire de l'amour, homme, femme, noir, blanc, mais consentement. Mais vous devrez avoir 18 ans et plus. Oh, j'ai de la poussière dans l'œil, l'œil droit et l'œil gauche. Les deux yeux, on essaie de clignoter un peu. Peut-être que je vais mettre mes lunettes, là, à moins que ça soit des enchanges, que ça soit. Et en tout cas, je vais clignoter des yeux un peu, peut-être me laver les yeux. Je vais aller me laver les yeux, m'hydrater de là. Puis, bien sûr, je dois saluer les fermiers, les boulangers, les camionneurs, les travailleurs des Hydro-Québec, et toutes les garderies qui changent des couches en ce moment. Tu sais. C'est tout du travail dans le collectif de Civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. Puis vous savez qu'à part que j'ai l'Asperger's, puis malheureusement, dans la communauté des Aspis, il n'y a pas bien des Asperger's comme moi que je suis. Moi-même, je fais partie de cette petite communauté, mais malheureusement, le taux de chômage est entre 60 et 80%. Fait que pour chacun de vous, la majorité qui est sans emploi, il y a 11. C'est 11 fois plus. 11 fois plus. 11 fois plus. Puis c'est un paradoxe parce que ma communauté n'est pas grande. C'est une petite minorité des gens qui ont l'Asperger's. Paradoxe. Un autre fois, c'est l'état de dépression puis de suicide. Et moi-même, j'étais suicidaire puis en dépression. J'étais moi-même en dépression puis en suicidaire. Regardez et c'est beau ça, les nuages, là. J'étais moi-même j'ai vécu être suicidaire puis en dépression, puis c'est 9 fois plus. 9 fois plus. 9 fois là, pour chaque. Vous, la neurotypique, vous êtes votre communauté, la majorité des gens, puis on doit bâtir des ponts ensemble parce qu'on doit vivre avec. Puis sur certaines choses, nous, les aspis, on est très bons. On a des très bonnes. On peut être très intellectuel, on peut être très bon dans nos intérêts spéciaux. Et nos intérêts spéciaux, je vais juste attendre un peu pour que ça sort la roue, il y a un peu des... Parce que je dois saluer quand même les travailleurs publics. Hein. Vous avez fait un beau travail pour emmener ça jusqu'en haut avec les tuyaux pour la place que je bois de la rivière. Imagine, sinon j'aurais dû emmener une grosse bouteille avec moi sur la montagne. Mais comment vous avez fait avec le cerveau et les muscles, les ingénieurs pour bâtir ça, pour emmener ça en haut? Là, c'est jusqu'en haut de la montagne, c'est au sommet de la montagne du Mont-Royal que je suis maintenant. Hein. Je suis au sommet de la montagne du Mont-Royal, la métropole de Montréal. Là, puis vous avez bâti ça pour avoir de l'eau potable. C'est quelque chose quand même, je trouve. Là. En tout cas. Aïe! Et merci encore une fois. On a nos difficultés, mais on a nos forces. On a nos forces, on a nos forces. Fait qu'on a ces forces dans nos intérêts spéciaux. Et bien sûr, ces intérêts spéciaux, bien sûr, ça se trouve, ça se génère dans où qu'on est rendu des intérêts spéciaux, aussi connus comme intérêts obsessifs chez les Asperger's. Puis nous, les Aspergers, on a une routine. La routine qu'on a, des fois, ça peut paraître obsessif, sévère, parce que ça tourne autour des intérêts spéciaux, aussi connus comme intérêts obsessifs. Mais pour nous, là, pour un Asperger's comme moi-même, nous, on n'est pas vraiment conscient que c'est comme une obsession. On peut être intense, super concentré, super dedans. Comme moi, quand j'analyse les événements en géopolitique, je suis super intense, super concentré, super dedans. Je peux passer des heures par jour. Même dans mes marches, c'est toujours la géopolitique, le rock'n'roll, puis la danse. Danse, c'est mon sport préféré. Des fois, je fais de la chorégraphie dans ma tête. Puis bien sûr, j'adore la danse. Puis mon intérêt spécial en tant qu'ASPI, c'est la géopolitique. Puis je dois dire, je prends beaucoup de fierté dans mon travail indépendant dans la géopolitique. En tant qu'analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant, je dois dire, puis je répète, que j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule actuellement. Je l'ai prévu d'une manière générale, pas à chaque détail, puis à chaque jour. Je n'ai pas prévu que le 7 octobre, la masse va pénétrer par, je pense, 44 points Israël, la forteresse d'Israël, pas 44 qui ont dit. Hein. C'est quelque chose comme ça, le 7 octobre. Je n'ai pas prévu exactement les dates et toutes ces choses-là, mais j'avais prévu que d'une manière généralement parlant, j'avais prévu bien sûr que c'est possible que ça soit une histoire d'avoir une guerre. Ben, j'ai prévu une conflagration internationale. Fait que dans d'autres mots, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant, mais pas chaque détail par chaque détail, mais généralement. Fait que de manière générale, j'avais prévu une conflagration internationale. Fait que c'est sûr que j'avais pas prévu, bien sûr, une conflagration, les détails de la conflagration actuelle, mais j'avais prévu qu'il y aura une conflagration. Et vous voyez ça? Ça, c'est intéressant, ça en haut. Ouais, comment c'est fait? Ouais, c'est les écorces. Oui, les écorces, comment ils sont différentes, ces écorces-là, bien sûr, de la manière qu'on a, bien sûr, des écorces, bien sûr. Ici, c'est des écorces, bien sûr, qui sont différentes. Vous voyez, ça, c'est une autre chose des Asperger. Des fois, on se concentre sur certains détails un peu. C'est comme quand je vous ai dit, les Asperger, nous, les Aspi, des fois, on se concentre sur certains détails. Sur certains détails, bien sûr, que la majorité des gens ne sont pas dans la même situation, tu sais, que de neurodivergence que nous, on l'a. Fait que des fois, ça peut paraître bizarre, un peu étrange, comme quand vous voyez quelqu'un inspecter, là, faire l'inspection, puis regarder très proche, bien sûr, prendre un objet, tu sais, prendre un objet dans la main, l'inspecter proche de leurs yeux, et bien sûr, faire l'objet, bien sûr, regarder l'objet, puis le tourner, bien sûr, puis regarder, bien sûr, de proche. Ça veut dire, peut-être, c'est possible qu'il y ait l'Asperger's, comme moi-même, ça fait des années, comme l'avait dit, bien plus que 7 ans, comme m'avait diagnostiqué plusieurs personnes, on m'a dit, tu sais que tu as l'Asperger's, mon Adrien? Puis j'ai dit, ben l'Asperger's, non, je l'ai pas. Je voulais pas vraiment accepter ce stigme, tu sais, je voulais pas vraiment accepter, bien sûr. Je voulais pas accepter que j'aille l'Asperger's parce que, tu sais, même dans le temps, maintenant, c'est de moins en moins, mais même dans le temps, je voulais pas vraiment accepter puis dire, oui, tu sais, je suis différent de même, mais finalement, il y a 3 ans et demi, j'avais accepté, ben je suis différent, je vois le monde différemment, fait que c'est pas, il n'y a pas de médicament pour l'Asperger's, il faut juste que je continue à bâtir des ponts avec les neurodivergents, puis je merci à mon ami anonyme pour les livres. J'ai un couple de livres qui m'ont été donnés, bien sûr. Fait que ces livres-là, ils m'ont fait, bien sûr, ouvrir les yeux, puis en même temps, savoir que les Aspi, nous, les Aspergers, on peut être vulnérables dans certaines choses parce que des fois, on dit des choses directement, on peut offenser. C'est pas par vouloir connaître de même, mais on peut dire des choses directement un peu. Et on peut faire des choses un peu étranges. Tu sais. On a des mouvements, puis on a des difficultés dans la relation sociale. Encore une fois, les Aspi, d'habitude, n'ont pas beaucoup d'amis. Hein. Moi, c'est de la misère à me garder. C'est pour ça que je dis, ben, vous voulez être amis, là, avec moi, pas de problème, mais vous savez à quoi vous attendre. Puis j'ai des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Amis avec bénéfice, amis avec bénéfice, amis avec bénéfice, amis avec bénéfice. Amis avec bénéfice seulement. J'ai l'Asperger's, puis je peux passer de cette petite communauté, je suis différent. Des fois, il faut me le dire directement. Tu sais, comme l'espace personnel de 2-3 mètres, tu sais, de 2-3 pieds, les gens se distancent, là, la distanciation sociale de 2-3 mètres, ça. L'espace personnel qu'on appelle la bulle. Ces choses-là, des fois, il faut que je prenne des pas en arrière, je recule, parce que des fois, tu sais, on a tendance, nous, les aspirants, à s'approcher trop proche, tu sais. Tellement de 2-3 pouces, fait que les gens les citoyens peuvent s'inquiéter un peu, avoir de la misère, dire, ben qu'est-ce qui se passe, tu sais, c'est 2-3 pourquoi tu es si proche, là, 2-3 pouces, là, pourquoi tu es à 2-3... Tu sais, ces choses-là sont difficiles pour les Aspergers, pour les Aspi, sont difficiles dans ces choses, les normes non écrites, là. Puis il y a bien qui pensent qu'on n'a pas de compassion, c'est pas parce qu'on n'a pas de compassion ou quoi que ce soit. Oui, mais on le montre différemment. Nous, les Aspergers, d'habitude, mais je parle de moi-même, là, je suis un individu faisant partie de cette communauté, mais je ne m'adresse pas pour toutes les Aspergers parce que moi, mes intérêts spéciaux ne sont pas les mêmes qu'un autre Aspi, un autre citoyen qui a l'Asperger. Ça peut être les centrales d'Hydro-Québec, il va savoir tout sur les centrales d'Hydro-Québec. Si c'est l'électricité, par exemple, ça peut être qu'un Aspi a l'électricité, il va tellement savoir sur quand que l'électricité ça a commencé dans le temps de 1800, puis après c'est le développement, puis les centrales d'Hydro-Québec, puis la fusion, puis les mathématiques, ça peut être l'histoire, ça peut être les automobiles. Pour moi, c'est la géopolitique. Géopolitique, le rock'n'roll, le sport, l'entraînement physique, la danse que je peux faire, c'est l'entraînement physique. Fait que ces choses-là, ça préoccupe. Ces choses-là, ça préoccupe toutes. On a une routine. La routine rituelle du jour au quotidien, ça tourne autour de ses intérêts spéciaux d'habitude. Puis malheureusement, on peut négliger certaines choses de la vie du quotidien à cause de ça. Moi, je ne requiers pas beaucoup de soutien, là. Je ne requiers pas beaucoup de soutien. Maintenant, je vous dis honnêtement, mon seul stress, c'est financièrement, mais j'ai eu bien de l'emploi, j'ai bien aimé CHSLD, puis d'autres places, j'ai bien aimé à travailler, puis j'ai bien aimé le travail, j'ai bien aimé faire ci, j'ai bien aimé faire ça, puis c'est tout, j'ai bien aimé faire ça, puis ci, puis tout. Fait que j'ai bien aimé ces choses-là. Mais le problème aussi, c'est que on est différents. On est différents, les Aspergers, de la majorité des gens. On voit le monde différemment. Des fois, on dit des choses directes. On peut offenser. C'est pas par vouloir. Juste me le dire, si je vous offense, je vais m'excuser. Juste me le dire, tu sais. Juste me le dire, tu sais. Tu sais, il me le dit, ben, t'es différent, je t'aime pas à face, 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 puis that's it. Pas besoin de me demander le numéro de téléphone, d'échanger le numéro, puis quoi que ce soit. Pas besoin, là. Pas besoin, pas besoin, pas besoin. C'est correct, merci, bonjour. Les Québécois, Québécoises, les Canadiens, les Américains, vous êtes ma famille. Ben, j'étais en dépression suicidaire, ben, avant ça, puis le taux de suicide et de dépression est très élevé chez les Asperger's. Mais qu'est-ce qui m'a fait solidifier? Établir un esprit de corps avec le Québec, le Canada, les États-Unis. Nos frères et sœurs aux États-Unis, il faut qu'on se fusionne. C'est avoir traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, cet événement, ça m'a fait vraiment sortir de ma dépression. J'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, côte à côte, côte à côte. En 2017, en août, puis en septembre, je suis allé à Vancouver. 2017, ça fait plus que 7 ans. En août puis en septembre, ça fait 8 ans déjà. Fait que traverser le Canada, là, ça a fait établir un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, les Québécoises. C'est de ma famille. Des fois, ben, je sais bien là, qu'on est un peu dysfonctionnels l'un de l'autre, puis on est différents aussi, puis on est des individus à travers la belle province, puis à travers le Canada, puis à travers le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. Le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. Les regards scrutant la ville, ça fait sourire, bien bouger comme faut. Les regards scrutant la ville, ça fait bouger, bien comme il le faut. Les regards scrutant la ville, ça fait bouger, bien comme il le faut. Des chevaux de la belle province, ça c'est les Québec, les pompiers, les boulangers, ça bouge les fesses, ça m'attend jusqu'au Ginette, jusqu'au la Madeleine. Eh oui, le rock and roll. Je compose des chansons rock and roll. Je suis bon au rock and roll. Je suis bien mieux de pas vous parler pantoute, mais juste vous chanter du rock and roll, ça je pourrais le faire. Ça je pourrais le faire, vous chanter du rock and roll à la place d'autres choses. L'autre chose, je suis pas bon, je suis pourri. Je suis tellement nul, tu sais. Ben, c'est ça l'Asperger. On a des intérêts spéciaux, puis on peut être bon dans ces choses-là, mais c'est ça le problème, c'est que les autres choses, on n'est pas bon, on peut offenser, on peut dire des choses plus directement, tu sais, comme que ça soit dans X, Y choses, là, mais comme je dis, mais tu sais, c'est juste des amis avec bénéfice seulement maintenant, des amis avec bénéfice, puis échanger des massages, faire de l'amour homme-femme, ben, à part le stress financier, là, j'ai pas d'autres problèmes malheureusement chez ma communauté, ben, c'est un stress énorme, tu sais, c'est un stress énorme dans les finances, c'est un stress énorme dans les finances, là. Pour les aspis, là, c'est une dépression, puis le taux de suicide est élevé, fait que nous, on doit faire ce compromis ici au Québec, le compromis du français, bien sûr, qu'on a à voir la belle île, puis une belle du ciel, là, et le ciel est beau, fait que on doit le faire dans cette tournée-là. Fait que là, je vais pas tarder, je vais juste discuter de la TRD, dire ma gratitude, puis discuter de la TRD, la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Super important que je la discute. Hein. La TRD, c'est ma théorie pour la fusion des États-Unis et du Canada à travers la République démocratique. Puis il faut qu'on fasse l'implémentation de ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça presse. Pourquoi je m'exprime de même? Ben, c'est parce que quand on est rendu à payer un taux d'intérêt, on est rendu à payer un taux d'intérêt massif. Massif, c'est un taux d'intérêt qu'on paye, pas juste le taux d'intérêt, mais à cause de la coronavirus, que moi-même j'ai survécu, et à cause de la coronavirus, ça a fait bien sûr qu'on a dû implémenter des programmes pour nous soutenir de la population, Regardez ces beaux arbres. Et c'est toute une beauté ici, mais c'est toute une beauté ici que vous voyez, bien sûr, dans le collectif, c'est la montagne sacrée, ça. Pour moi, c'est comme un temple. Je vais bâtir le temple de la déesse, oublier un nouveau temple ici, à travers le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, puis un nouveau colisée ici dans le 21e siècle, bien avec du rock'n'roll, des bisous, des châteaux, et puis avec quoi que ce soit, et bien sûr, dans le sens de la compréhension, bien sûr, qu'on soit rendu à cette heure d'avoir un beau ménage à faire à travers le collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, à travers les 10 provinces, 50 États et 3 territoires. Bien, c'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même dans ce point de convergence, tu sais. C'est des choses moi-même qu'il faut que j'aille dans ce point de convergence, à établir certaines choses, avoir d'une manière de neurodivergence en tant que philosophe, artiste et analyste et théoricien en géopolitique. Donc, moi, c'est ça que je fais au quotidien, c'est la géopolitique. La géopolitique, et bien sûr, c'est des choses lesquelles que je suis bon dedans. Vous voyez qu'il y a la noirceur qui s'approche. C'est la chose de la géopolitique pour la faire moi-même. Fait que c'est ça, j'ai l'Asperger, je checké c'est quoi sur l'Internet. Fait que là, je vais pas tarder, je vais discuter de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est super important qu'on fasse l'implémentation de la TRD. Ça presse un peu, c'est quand même urgent. Là. On est quand même dans une situation d'urgence à cause du taux d'intérêt qu'on paye. Puis pas seulement le taux d'intérêt, mais justement la dette publique, tu sais. À cause de la dette publique, bien sûr, à cause de la dette publique qu'on fait, bien sûr, c'est une dette publique qu'on doit faire, bien sûr, dans ce point de convergence. Et c'est bien sûr une dette publique qu'il faut qu'on fasse dans ce point de convergence, d'avoir faire. Non, j'ai entendu vagabond. Non, je suis pas un vagabond. Les pompiers, les boulangers, je suis juste un artiste, madame. Madame, messieurs, la belle province. Je sais que vous aimez pas les homosexuels. C'est pas grave, laissez-nous faire. C'est pas grave, laissez-nous faire. Je sais bien que vous ne les aimez pas, les homosexuels. Ben, juste me le dire, c'est tout. Pas besoin, juste me le dire. Je t'aime pas la face, puis that's it, tu sais. Pas besoin de faire un gros sacrifice, là. Je t'aime pas la face, puis that's it. Allez-y de votre chemin, puis je m'en vais le mien, puis that's it. Libre, liberté, citoyen, individu, sécurité, liberté, puis justice. Mais je fais appel à tous, à toutes de soutenir mon rêve. Ceux qui veulent par volonté. Le soutien, bien sûr, du rêve, c'est le rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse. Du royaume et du dragon qui danse. Du royaume et de la déesse qui danse. Du royaume et de la déesse qui danse. Et oui, je vis avec mes cicatrices, la perte de mémoire, mais... Puis la perte de mémoire, puis bien sûr la perte de mémoire, là, tu sais. Mais j'ai la gratitude parce que j'ai survécu tellement de choses dans ma vie, puis sans emploi, puis j'étais attaqué par surprise. Je dois aller à l'hôpital juif, pour reprendre, bien sûr, prendre les archives. Parce que j'étais attaqué par surprise, dans un couple d'années, je suis tombé, je connais ma tête dans le métro de mariage, j'avais le bras droit disloqué, puis ben, c'était comme l'épaule droite disloquée, puis j'étais comme dans un coma, tu sais, j'étais dans un coma pendant un couple de jours. Fait que j'étais dans ce coma pendant un couple de jours, puis ils m'ont mis sur des médicaments, puis j'ai la misère à me souvenir de ma vie avant 2014, dans ce point de vue d'avoir. Fait que là, il faut que je me grouille, parce que là, il faut que je me change en dedans, parce que la tonnerre commence. Fait que je vais pas tarder, bien sûr, de m'exprimer de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Super important que je la discute moi-même, québécois et québécoise, pour être allégeance légion des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Ah ouais, ça commence. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ça commence. Ah, je vais aller dans le tunnel. Je vais aller dans le tunnel. Ah ouais, dans le tunnel. Eh ben, je vais mettre mon... Mais des fois, s'ils viennent en bicyclette, là... Ok, je vais m'arranger pour me mettre. Parce que merci à mon ami anonyme, ben, je vais tasser ça parce que des fois c'est des bicyclettes pour la sécurité les cyclistes. Ça commence. Je vais mettre mon. Faut juste que je fasse attention aux bicyclettes. Et de la pluie. On fera la pluie. On est dedans. On va couvrir. Couvrir mon sac. Merci à mon ami anonyme qui n'a pas été mon ami à cause de l'argent, je n'ai jamais eu. Puis j'ai eu un bon don d'avoir ce don pour que je puisse naviguer dans la pluie. Je vais juste rapprocher ça de ma bouche. Puis on y va s'hydrater. Puis on va discuter de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Parce que je vais rentrer chez nous pour faire mon lavage. Parce que c'est jeudi, j'ai pris le compostage. Et bien sûr, les autres choses sont faites. Là, s'il mouille, faites attention parce que dans la forêt, les branches tombent. En parlant des branches qui tombent, vous la voyez, mais ça peut être plus grosse que celle-là. Là, fait que soyez prudent. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, on y va, on la discute, là, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la théorie qui peut nous sauver. Donc on est rendu d'un point de crise financièrement, bien sûr, au point de la crise qu'on est rendu, qu'on paie un record d'intérêt. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, son 10 000, son 10 000, de côte à côte, de chien à chien. On va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis de toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, parce que le coût de la vie, ça commence à augmenter à chaque semaine. Encore une fois, ça n'arrête pas d'augmenter le prix, sauf les salaires, fait qu'on est en difficulté, bien sûr. En crise, un record d'utilisation des banques alimentaires, il y a un record, fait que c'est la solution sur la table. C'est un paradoxe, parce que moi, j'ai tellement souffert. On a vécu la dépression et le suicidaire, puis là je viens sur la table la TRD. Dans la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Dans la théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie financière que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation dans les années 90. Les Européens ont détruit leur banque nationale au Québec, ou l'Allemagne, Italie, France, bien d'autres pays, ils n'ont plus de banque nationale comme ici qu'on a au Canada. Il y a une banque multinationale, la Banque centrale européenne. Donc, eux autres, ils ont fait l'implémentation de cette théorie, la théorie de l'intégration monétaire. Fait que nous, On va faire la TRD qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000 incluant de côte à côte. On va convertir dans la devise des États-Unis, toute la dette publique canadienne, publique ainsi que privée canadienne, des citoyens et citoyennes. Puis il faut qu'on fasse l'implémentation de ma TRD de manière binationale. Canada et États-Unis. Fait qu'on va faire l'addition avec la dette publique privée des États-Unis. Cet argent-là, ça va constituer une nouvelle monnaie. On va appeler UI, unité d'échange universelle, UI, unité d'échange universelle, UI, U point unité, A point échange, U point universel. U point unité, U point échange, E point universel. UI, U point unité, A point échange, U point universel. L'unité d'échange universelle aura la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. La valeur du dollar des États-Unis, l'unité d'échange universelle, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Ça ne pourra pas être plus que 10, ça pourra être en bas de 10, mais pas plus que 10%. Pas plus que 10. Mais ça va être une nouvelle banque qu'on va faire la création. Avec la création de cette nouvelle monnaie, l'unité d'échange universelle, qui aura un taux d'intérêt maximum de 10%. On va rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. On va financer les gens à l'entraînement physique. On va financer les gens au sport. On va financer les gens à faire de l'entraînement physique. On va bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec. On va construire les 44 tunnels à travers le collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. On va bien sûr faire bien du compromis, bien du public et bien du privé. C'est quelque chose qu'on va faire. On va enlever la frontière, on va faire la création de cette nouvelle banque commune, on va faire la création d'un passeport, puis on s'hydrate. Et merci, je salue toujours les ingénieurs qui ont fait bâtir pour avoir ça ici, pour que moi-même je m'hydrate. C'est bien le travail qui a été fait avec le cerveau et des muscles. Puis, du point de vue des ingénieurs qui l'ont bâti, c'est quelque chose. Et c'est toujours du respect un petit peu. Parce que la civilisation, c'est un privilège, tu sais. Le privilège de la civilisation, c'est quelque chose qu'on doit prendre en considération. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique privée. Cette dette-là, on va convertir. On va faire l'addition avec la dette des États-Unis. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle banque. Avec l'implémentation de la TRD et la création de cette nouvelle monnaie, unité d'échange universelle, on va faire bien sûr une nouvelle monnaie d'échange, bien sûr que ça soit bien sûr dans le compromis d'avoir un concitoyen puis citoyenne. Puis on va enlever la frontière. On va faire la création par le nouveau protocole de 9.1 pour le collectif de défense de sécurité et de services pour les 10 provinces, 50 États et 3 territoires. On va bien sûr bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec, et bien sûr, on va faire un beau compromis ensemble, le nouveau compromis du collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. Je trouve ça des belles fleurs que les travailleurs en public qui ont mis, c'était d'autres plantations, puis ici, fait que je dois leur dire toujours un bon mot ici sur la montagne, même quand il mouille, quand il pleut. Fait que on va bâtir l'infrastructure, les ponts, l'infrastructure du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Hey. Les ponts du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, on va bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec, bâtir les 44 tunnels dans le cadre d'une guerre nucléaire à travers le collectif de la civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, inspiré par la montagne Cheyenne, où se trouve le siège social de la NORAD, les militaires des États-Unis et du Canada ensemble, l'Alliance, quelle belle métropole que vous voyez, puis bien sûr, inspiré aussi par les tunnels d'Hamas. Paradoxe, je suis pas un partisan d'Hamas pas en tout, mais je suis pour le collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord parce que je suis un philosophe, artiste, analyste et théoricien en géopolitique nord-américain, québécois, canadien, nord-américain. Mes théories et protocoles sont fondamentalement pour le fusionnement fusionnement du Canada et des États-Unis et par l'implémentation de la TRD que je vous ai mentionné, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, pour bâtir plus de centrales Hydro-Québec, bien sûr faire financer les gens au tourisme, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique et faire du bien qu'on va pouvoir faire par la création de ces deux institutions de partenariat public, l'armée du dragon, ça pour la sécurité, service, défense de côte à côte, de chien à chien, puis on va fusionner ensemble les États-Unis, le Canada, puis on va bien sûr mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10% après ça. On va faire du bien en commun avec l'implémentation de cette théorie de la refusion de la dette qu'on va faire dans cette belle métropole où on est rendu ici à être du siège social, où on est rendu à avoir un peu de pluie, puis encore une fois, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire bien sûr une refusion totale. Ici, si vous venez sur la montagne, vous pouvez voir le mont Saint-Bruno qui est là, de côte à côte, les 17 régions du Québec, les 10 provinces, 50 États, 3 territoires. C'est quelque chose qu'on va devoir faire dans ce bon point d'avoir une bonne constellation ici. Puis la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est quelque chose, bien sûr, qu'il faut qu'on s'imagine puis qu'on se fasse dans la Constitution d'avoir du bon conditionnement physique. On va financer les gens en fait de l'entraînement physique ou tourisme parallèlement parce que moi, ça fait du bien, ça fait établir un bon esprit solide, un esprit solide de corps solide, un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, les États-Unis, mais les Nord-Américains et tous ceux qui viennent nous rejoindre, je vous considère comme ma famille. Fait que pour les pompiers, les camionneurs, les boulangers, je dois saluer bien sûr tous ceux qui sont travailleurs dans la construction, ceux qui font le ménage, tous les pompiers, les boulangers dans la boulangerie, les camionneurs, puis bien sûr ceux qui sont dans les garderies en train de changer les couches. Et ici, si vous venez sur la montagne, soutenez la TRD, on va commencer bien sûr à avoir le fusionnement, puis on va faire de la création ici. Vous pouvez voir vous-même. Si vous voulez voir, vous pouvez voir, mais là, on voit pas bien maintenant, mais quand même, on peut voir dans une autre circonstance. On peut voir, puis bien sûr, ici, ça c'est mon gratte-ciel préféré, que je préfère le plus, là. Celle-là avec la pyramide. La pyramide. La pyramide de Montréal. On a des pyramides dans Montréal. Puis, bien sûr, la TRD, je vous conseille bien sûr à venir ici. C'est le siège social du royaume et de la déesse qui danse. Et ici, vous voyez, on peut avoir un peu d'histoire. Puis, qu'est-ce que je veux moi-même? Si j'aurais des millions, j'aurais financement de. Parce qu'en dedans, il y a de la peinture au Belvédère Cognac, de la peinture qui démontre l'histoire du Québec, du Canada, du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord en tant que philosophe. Qu'est-ce que j'appelle le collectif de Civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord? Et bien sûr, j'aimerais ça, si je serais milliardaire, ah ouais Céline, les millionnaires pendant le Partenariat public, je veux acheter 5 ou 4 autres peintures qui démontrent l'histoire moderne du Québec, soit Armand Bombardier, puis l'Hydro-Québec, les centrales qui ont été bâties de l'Hydro-Québec en dedans, là, ça. Fait que là, on va aller les cadences des États-Unis, cadence, get ready for the cadence, get ready for the cadence, get ready for the cadence, let's go, Dragonomic cadence, here's the pyramid, pledge your allegiance from the mountain, we go for that French, because we're not Belle Province. We're heading back to our headquarters, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get that rock and rolling for my brothers and sisters who give it on the 50 states, 10 provinces, 10 territories. That's how we got, and that's how we gotta get doing on the go, workout, train, exercise. We gotta get it. Good job on that. We gotta get it on the go, made it up. Let's go, Dragon Army on the go. Dragon Army on the go. For the left and for the right. Let's go out sight. Gotta give it for the butchers, for the bakers and the nurses, for the doctors, firefighters. Gotta get some train conductors. Watch it, man. Let's go for the plumbers and the butchers and the nurses, electricians. Grocery store clerks for the Dragon Army freestyle. Let's go, freestyle mode. Getting back to headquarters, this is a special 22nd or 23rd freestyle mode. Let's get it for the Dragon Army. Use only Führer. Friend all an ally. Let's go, XYZ, for the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the doctors. Firefighters and the plumbers, hey, we march in the storm we go. It's raining on the mountain, in the forest, got those boots. Military grade, dragon army, got a salute. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Hey, we don't need no magic potion. Gotta marching on we go. Hey, some of us are in steel toes. Hey, we got the firefighters, gotta love it. Fitness journey, gotta save it. And you know we got a craving. For the love, we gotta save it. Some athletes, some are beginning for their fitness journey. Hey, those who begin their fitness journey. Brothers and sisters who are beginning their fitness journey now. June 20, 25, June 19th. Those beginning their fitness journey. Across the 63. 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 You know you gotta see. On the left and right you be. Hey, you know we got some workers. Gotta bid the public workers. Changing aqueducts. And those in the fast food flipping burgers. Those in the fast food flipping burgers. Hey, hail the construction workers. Working in steel or working in metal. Working in soft, making some pillows. Working in soft, making some pillows. Hey, you know we gotta say hello. Hey, dragon army on steel toes. That you know we gotta be. With the dragon army, see. So you see on left and right. Butchers, that's the army might. So you see ready to be. Left and right in harmony. Some of our dragons are black. Some of our dragons are white. None of my dragons are born a dragon. Truckers, truckers on the road. Gotta go in coast to coast. Nurses in the daycares. You know they be changing diapers. Nurses in the daycares. You know they be changing diapers. Nurses in the daycares. You know they be changing diapers. Nurses in the daycares. You know that they changing diapers. Gotta be it so you see. Gotta be it so you be. And you know I gotta see some of that loving bee. And you know I gotta see some of that loving bee. And you know I gotta see some of that loving bee. On the mountain, in the forest. Hey, from the left and from the right. Gotta get it in the sight. And you know that I might. Left and right and on the bike. The sun shining after the storm. As the rainbow rock and roll. Dragon army on the go. Dragon army on the go. Dragon army on the go. Left and right and in the go. That's what we gotta show. That's what we gotta show. Left and right and army go. Left and right and army go. For you know we say hello. Watch your steps and don't you slide. It's slippery, got a life. For security and that service. For security and that service. For the SSDC. for those legions that you be, for the SSD you see, for the legions that you be, for the SSD you be, for the legions that you see. Might the life run right and might, justice that a little late, for those firefighters, nurses and the doctors, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We are dragons, not some demons. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We are dragons, not some demons. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We are dragons, not some demons. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We are dragons, not some demons. Gotta love it so you see. Gotta spark that harmony. Hey, the electricians and the plumbers. So you know we gotta salute them. It ain't all about Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat. It ain't all about Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat. It ain't all about Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat. For the left and for the right. Gotta give the order. They're gonna have to give an order to hug and massage naked. Dragon Army to hug and massage naked. Hug and massage naked. So I give an order out to hug and massage naked and kiss naked for 15 minutes, just like a quarter football. How are you gonna defend? Open fire, open fire, open fire, open fire, open fire. On enemies of the kingdom, the empire, the empire, the empire. If you cannot kiss each other, black, white, and rainbow, men and women, oh, etc., 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 trans, whatever. Because some of my dragons are dragonesses. Because some of my dragons are dragonesses. Because some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Yes. Some of my brothers are sisters. Some of our sisters are brothers. Some of my brothers and sisters are bro sisters. Ain't nobody born a dragon. 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 When you go down the valley, tiptoes and up we go. Bend those knees, now rock and roll. Bend those knees, that rock and roll. As you go on the door, watch your left or right and indoor. Gotta see so that you be. Left or right, we harmony. For the left or right, we yellow. Flowers that I love, let's go. Yes, Dragon Zero, aka General Cuckold, aka Lim Dick Dick, Dragon Zero, founder of the Dancing Goddess, or the Dragon Army again, North American Collective for the 63, 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, 40 SSD, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. I give order, and I have to hug, naked, 15 minutes, and kissing. Gotta follow that order. That means you establish an esprit de corps with your brothers and sisters in the Dragon Army. Vis-a-vis parallel to the Dancing Goddess Army. Because if you can't kiss, and you can't massage each other and hug each other naked, I cannot trust you, I cannot trust you, I cannot trust you. The Dragon Army to be for SSD, for security, service, and defense. For security, service, and defense. For security, service, and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Alright, can open fire and necessary to kill for defense, and opposing armed forces of the kingdom of the empire, and kingdom of the dragon. For the 63 coast to coast, ocean to ocean, if you cannot. Hug each other naked and squeeze each other naked for 15 minutes. Meditate on that. Dragon Army philosophical, 21st century. You gotta love, black, white, and rainbow. For men, women, you gotta hug each other. You gotta get that 15 minutes. That's something that gotta be followed. Because then you establish a strong esprit de corps. You gotta say, love, black and white and rainbow, both the organs, the male genitalia, known as the penis, clitoris. I got both, clit, dick, clit, little lit. Sometimes goes rocket, 50-50. Some others got bigger than others, smaller than others. Privates, in order to follow, kiss each other, It's privates, dragons, potential dragons, potential dragons, potential dragons, potential dragons. If you're not able to follow that, kiss each other's. Privates are going to be able to defend each other with loving, 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 loving hearts. If you're not able to follow that order, which is for loving, because we're not all about strength. Somebody better make some loving. We're not all about strength, and that order action, implementing that action and following that order will also be consequential to other orders which got to be followed potentially. For only Dragonomy is only for the Holy Trinity, plus the fourth dimension, SSD, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, security, service, and defense, 63. We got 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, the new 63 states of the Emperor of the Kingdom, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. Together united, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, rebuild the North American ghettos. Together rebuild the North American ghettos, rebuild the North American ghettos, rebuild the North American ghettos, aka the North American inner urban cities. The North American inner urban cities, rebuild the North American inner urban cities together and rehabilitate our brothers and sisters who lost their liberty. Ensure and secure liberty by rebuilding and building those 44, constructing, building the 44, constructing and building the 44, constructing and building the 44. Tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war, and helping the Operation Northern Scorpio to be fully implemented, integrated Dragonomy with all existing institutions and organizations for security. The king is absent, fellow Canadians. The king is absent, the king is absent. Time for the Republic. The Binational Salvation Front. Let's go. More cadence on the go. Left or right, by the sea and by the river. You know that we gotta see it. Gotta left or right you be. And you know in harmony. And the butchers and the bakers. You know they got some cooking. And the butchers and the bakers. You know they got some of that cooking. Cooking that you see. And you know we gotta be cooking left in harmony. So you see what I see. Left or right in harmony. Left or right and up we go. In the cadence that's a show. Butterflies and flying high. In the skies the plane rides. And the truckers on the road. With some bacon and some cheese. Some bread and some onion and other goodies you know they squeeze. Those firefighters across the 63. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are white black. Some of my dragons are homos. We gotta sing the cadence for the homos. We gotta sing the cadence for the lesbians. Gotta sing the cadence. That is our sentence. Dragonomy sentences. The Dragonomy's holy, holy, holy sacred cadence. And the tempo, here we go, for the rock and roll. Gotta go up in the go. Move out of my brothers and sisters' way for the bike leak on the cyclist. Hey, moving mountains, moving seas. And you know they say please. Some of my dragons are black, white. Some of my dragons are white, black. In the nature, in the fauna, by the cities of the 63. I hope somebody's loving. Somebody making love in black, white, or rainbow across the kingdom and the empire. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta see the magic potion. After the storm, the sun is shining. After the storm, the sun is shining. Gotta give some rainbow. Gotta get some rainbow. Gotta say you gave hello. And you know we gauge on that rock and roll. So you see where we are. On the mountain, plenty of scars. On the left, on the right. You know that we got it tight. Hey, the dragon army, pledge your legions. We are dragon legions, not some demons. We are the dragon's 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 legions, not some demons. Got some French, some English, and some Spanish. Got some French and some English and some Spanish. Gotta see where we be. Got the art, and you with me. Down and up we go. On the mountain, on the road. Truckers, electricians, plumbers. Hey, hello, the train conductors. Hey, truckers, plumbers, electricians. Hey, hello, the train conductors. For the truckers, electricians, nurses, and the train conductors. In the daycare, workers changing diapers. And you know we got some construction workers on the cranes. Going up and down with some pain. With some rocks and some metal. Building another skyscrapers. Hey, you know what we are. Dragon army, plenty of scars. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta see the magic potion. For the 63, the kingdom of the dragons. Motto of the dragon army is nobody is born a dragon. Motto of the dragon army is nobody is born a dragon. Motto of the dragon army is nobody is born a dragon. Dragon army, nobody is born a dragon is the motto of the dragon army. And now we're about to, please don't pollute, please don't pollute. This has to be, now that it's wet, I guess garbage, because this can be eaten by a squirrel. I don't mind you eating here. Oh, chicken, red, rouge, that says rouge, my favorite color. But this, of course, can pollute here, because we got flora, fauna, so don't pollute here in the mountain. It's a place of preservation of nature. And gotta salute the public workers. Let's go for the public workers who across the 63, the cities, garbage collectors, and those doing some of the compost, compost recycling, and the garbage. Those workers, we gotta sing for them that cadence. We gotta sing some cadence for the public workers. Dragon army, Democratic Republican Kingdom, Dragon Empire. United States, fuse as we go down the stairs. Anybody want to finance that? I go up and down these stairs 300 times, $300. Finance, calling for the mass financing for 7 years. September, starting now ASAP. Let's do it. I'm gonna propose again myself. 333 trillion for the coming 44 years to split it and make a few billions. Get into 156 billions initially, every other 3 months, starting for the next 7 years, and split into 42 months, twice, 42 months, twice, 42 months, twice, 42 months per collection, and 2 periods of the coming septennium, which I call ASAP to be, starting July 24th or September 11th, as we got a few Canada and regions, the dancing goddess dragon kingdom, the binational marriage, binational marriage for the 63, 10 provinces, 10 states, 50 states, and 3 territories. Pledge allegiance.